Hey everyone, Luke here again with Pie Jumps to talk about another batch of the weekly Shonen Jump manga chapters. Yay!
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah,
Ann Arbor,
and
if you're still in the chat, hi.
yeah. Oh, he's probably in the chat because, as he said in the chat, you already know I'm sexy and everything. Yeah,
Yep. All right. So this week, Luke caught up with Undead Unluck, so we'll be adding that to our list of series we talk about.
yes. Yeah, he's still there. We got the what's up, my friends? What's up, Ann Arbor? Thank you for joining us. And like Pie Jumps just said, I have caught with Undead Unluck this week. So we'll get into that, and I'll talk about my initial thoughts on the series, about why I decided to catch up with it, and what I thought about it after getting over the slump that was the autumn arc, because that
Do
was
you want to
so.
just start with that just for this week, just because it's the new
Yeah,
series?
yeah. I guess we'll start, and because I put it as like the thumbnail for the stream, the Undead Unluck cover page. I guess we'll start with that. So yeah, we'll start with Undead Unluck this week. So I guess my initial thoughts when it first came out, I was like, oh my, the first chapter when it first came out, like everyone, I was like, oh my word, the SJWs are going to go mental for this. And sure
Yeah.
enough, they did, because of that first chapter of Andy hanging Fuku off the side of a bridge, even though she was going to do it herself anyway. Um, and I was enjoying it up until the point where it got to the point where Billy betrayed the group, and I was like a bit like, huh? Okay, where did this come from? It
Yeah, that's a fair reaction.
Yeah, and also the fact that it went a little bit meta, which unlike Witch Watch, it didn't seem to acknowledge throughout the series that there was a slight meta to it. So that's kind of where I was like, okay, I guess this isn't for me. But people will say to me, it's really good once you get past the autumn arc. And yeah, I've got to give it to them. It was true. After the autumn arc, I managed to get over that slump, and yeah, I've enjoyed it after the autumn arc. Like the summer arc, I really enjoyed. I love the fight with between Shin, Miyu, Fuko, Andy, and Fen. I absolutely love that fight. It's probably my favorite fight in the series.
It's definitely up there for me too. I
Yeah,
haven't really ranked the fights. I still really enjoy some of the really early ones, like with Victor and Spoiled, but yeah, Fang's up there.
yeah, not Billy. He was my favorite. No, Ann Arbor. The thing is like Billy's betrayal. It just seemed like the other was like, we need a betrayal for no other reason other than we need a betrayal.
Yeah, there wasn't just any real setup for it. Like the best we got was that the arc before was Tatiana's story and Billy was connected to her backstory.
Yeah,
But other than that, and the fact that like there were hints of another group in that arc, like there was no need to be like, okay, now this character we barely know is the leader of that group and has just betrayed us.
yeah. Now here's the thing: if it was
And honestly, even now
Tatiana,
we barely know a lot about
like
Billy.
yeah. Now here's the thing: if it was Tatiana that was the leader of Under, now that would have been shocking. I would have met and would have been as like, okay, where did this come out of nowhere? Because that would have actually made sense for a character, like because of the fact that she can't really be with people, and then she found this group of people that she came to know as her friends who were the members of Under. That would have made sense.
I honestly thought that Shen would have made the best choice for a traitor if we needed one, just because he was always like one. He was presented from the beginning, and he had like the most character work done for him up until that point. And plus, his morality has always been very flexible. And since he wanted to be the strongest, it kind of made sense he would want to oppose the strong members of Union. So I thought that would have made sense. But
Okay, yeah,
I liked what they did with Shen's character ultimately. So I'm glad they didn't go that route. But I still
yeah.
feel like weirdly, even after all this time, Billy, I don't still know enough
We
about
still
exactly him to like motivate me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm down for you being like the big antagonist.
And here's the thing: has he really been an antagonist at the moment? Because reading the series, he doesn't seem like he's an antagonist. He just seems like he's a rival to the group.
In many ways, you're kind of right because he took Fuka at one point, but really Fuka went with him, and like he then ultimately like teamed up with them later. So yeah, the most he's done is cut off Juice's arm, and that was kind of her fault.
Yeah.
That was like
Um,
almost entirely her fault.
Yeah. And also as well, another thing that I'm not really feeling with Undead Unluck are just like the lack of character development. Because aside from like Fuko, Andy, Tatiana, and Chikara, is that how you pronounce his name? Unmove?
Yeah, Chikara, you got it.
Chikara. We haven't really got a lot of development from the other characters. I mean, we
Yeah,
did
I
get
will say with like some of them, like Chikara and Top, they had, I think, enough to be like, all right, I can justify that. And
and I would
oh crap, what
say
was her name?
Ishin.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, and Ishin, like she got like her own backstory, so I feel like those characters have had enough to be like, okay, you guys can stick around. But in many ways, this just feels more like the My Hero Academia style of storytelling,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
only have like one arc to be like, this is what the character's about, and now they just exist.
yeah.
Meanwhile,
Now I
like
will.
other stories, like Fairy Tale, for example, like they had entire arcs dedicated to some characters and continued to develop them later on.
Okay, okay, yeah. Also, speaking of fairy tale, I've started reading Eden Zero. Love the first two chapters. Can't wait to read more. That's it. That's my initial thoughts on Eden Zero.
Yep,
Yeah.
and Eden Zero, apparently there's some leaks out that they're going to get season two announcement soon and more information on the game. So
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And as well, my next series for reading from Shonen Jump, I'm gonna bite the bullet and try and read High School Family. So
Okay, that's an
yeah.
interesting choice. I
Well,
would,
it was between that and me and Roboco, and Axel said Axel Blaze recommended that I try High School Family over Roboco.
I'm not sure if I would fully agree with that. I think High School Families actually gets pretty decent later on, but I feel like Roboco, like High School Family, like took a while to really win me over. Roboco at least had some stuff that entertained me. Well, but I guess at the very least, High School Family is more of a story behind it than Roboco, really. So
Okay,
there's
yeah,
that too.
but yeah, going back to Undead and Look, what I will say, what I really like most about the series is just the variety and the diversity of the cast itself, and also the locations. Like we get varying locations as well throughout the world, throughout the world as well. Like the world building is pretty good in Undead and Unlock. And like I said, the cast is very diverse as well. Like we've got from all different nationalities. Like Tatiana's Russian, Top is Brazilian. Um, is Jews Australian?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I think she must be Australian if that's where the union's located, and she founded the
I don't
union.
know. She could be, but I don't know if it was ever confirmed.
Yeah,
But
but
Ann Arbor, just to address your comment real quick, I also dropped Eden Zero early on in the story, but then I eventually picked it back up after hearing enough about it, and it was worth the read. But I know that's also hard to recommend for most people. My recommendation would be if it's a little tough to get through the manga, would be to watch the anime because and then just kind of go in with a little lower expectations that the story will build up a lot later.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, so that's my initial getting back into Undead Unluck, and also like everyone else, I was like, okay, this was something I wasn't expecting from a couple of chapters ago with Fuko dying, basically.
Yeah, like we were all wondering after the spring arcs, like, are we gonna fight God? Like, is the story almost over? But now we have a whole arc set up for a
Yeah.
while.
So I guess like I said in Discord, I guess we're either in the Ghost or Death arc, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, which I mean, there's a lot of cool things they could do with it, but I also have a few issues here and there with it. So let's talk about the chapter.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So basically, it starts off from the end of the last chapter where Andy has like jumped into the future. Like, okay, we've got to save Fuko. Okay, this is the point where we have to save her. We have to be awake. So they used a character called Luna who lives on the moon. So Luna's the Y man, confirmed.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, when we get to Doctor Stone.
Oh yeah, that I have got some theories about the Y Man's identity in Doctor Stone. But yeah, so they've skipped to the future. So now they're at the point where, okay, now we can really say Fuko. They've got capture of UMA Autumn Success, the reward being the addition of the UMA Ghost. And we see Ghost coming out of the Apocalypse book, but of course, something also comes out of Fuko, which turns out to be it's a soul. Is it a soul or
Yeah, it's her soul.
yeah? So we have a soul coming out of her, and Andy's trying to touch her, but of course she's a transparent being at this point, so she can't. But of course, the one creature that can is Ghost. Is Ghost him, her, itself? Who basically like, right, I'm gonna take this soul because it's gonna be my tasty treat, basically.
Yep. Which that's so then Andy just starts chasing after it, but he can't hit it because it's a ghost.
Yeah, it's a ghost. Even with his like, I'm gonna cut off my hands and turn my arms into blood spring into blood guns, basically.
Yep. So I mean, it's a big question of how we can fight ghosts right now.
I guess the way we could fight it is if we used June's Injustice, or I guess Miyu, because now she has Untruth. I guess like her own truth ability.
Yeah, I guess we either have to use negator abilities, find an artifact, or have Nico build something. Those are the three avenues I see it going.
Or they could just like or they because or they could just like call America and be like, hey, ghost hunters, get over here.
Yeah, that would be something. If
Yeah.
they do a whole Ghostbusters, I can see this author doing that.
Oh, unless there's like a unless there's like someone with the ability unnatural, so like they can actually, because it's unnatural, it's an unnatural occurrence to actually hit a ghost. Maybe that will be their ability, like to actually
Yeah,
hit
there
intangible
are other
objects.
awards for the other season, so I think some people have speculated that those rewards can help us in this upcoming arc.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, what ability from Undead Unluck would you like the most?
You mean like of what we've seen so far?
Like, if you could have one ability from Undead Unluck, what would you have?
Yeah, that we've already seen, right?
Yeah,
Not that like one I'm just making
yeah,
up.
yeah, that we haven't seen. Not that we have seen.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Of all the abilities, most of them come with so many risks that it's kind of hard to say. But I feel like because the weird thing with Billy's ability is it only really works with other negators around. So taking his ability doesn't do much. And Andy's ability, well, we've seen how undead works for him.
Yeah.
Mm, so I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to think about that because on the top of my head, the easiest one would be untruth. But
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say on truth as well, because that's basically like an ability, because Tekken did a few years ago like other Stone Raider abilities. So like he did his own list. He made people do a contest of all different Stone Raider abilities from Bleach that weren't in the final arc. So you had stuff like the stained glass for like Stone Raider S. And somebody did Stone Raider M, the mistake, which was basically like untruth. So like anything the person tried to do, the opposite would occur. So it was kind of like untruth. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
yeah, also but that's also similar to injustice as well, doing the opposite.
Well, Unjustice is more like puppetry works, or like controlling the person.
Okay, but I think it also has something to do with like opposite intentions. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to the ghost chase. So Andy was like panicking and just chasing on um, Shen's cloud thing, which is just the Nimbus cloud. And then it is just the Nimbus cloud. I know there's like a Japanese name for it, but I can't say it, so I'm just calling it Nimbus.
Okay.
And then we find out that apparently he was attracted, Ghost was attracted to Unruin because Unruin just murdered a bunch of people. And so that suggests to me that Unruin, he was probably from a previous loop and similar things have happened. He expected them to use Ghost. So he anticipated it. So I think that, I mean, we already knew this from what he said, but it confirms that he is can anticipate events and
Yeah,
remembers them.
yeah. Do you think Unruin is connected to another, like,
Oh,
say,
I'm sorry. I,
oh,
I said unruined, but then the next page says, I just
no,
realized
no,
page 10, he says, I'm ruined.
no, no. He says, no, his ability is Unruin, so maybe his name is, he just named himself after his ability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Huh.
he said,
That's strange, though.
yeah, yeah, that his ability is Unruin.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that's what I thought, but then he's called himself ruined, so that threw me off for a second.
mm,
But okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you
Uh,
were saying?
I was gonna say, do you think Ruin on Ruin is like connected to a separate group from Under and Union? That, like you
That's
said, there could be potentially other people out there that are from a previous loop. So I get I guess we could call them, for lack of a better word, the loopers.
I mean, that's what a lot of people are speculating. Other people have speculated. You see the sun pattern on his chest,
Yeah.
that there might be a connection between him and like Luna. Like there's like another group of just people who are slightly outside of this quote unquote game that are kind of affecting events. Like almost like they work for God, but separately
Ah,
than the way Umas and negators do. Then again, there's
yeah.
also the chance that this is just another group of negators that God has chosen to oppose them or something.
Yeah.
Because he
Like,
called himself loved by God.
so if they're loved by God, so maybe this is kind of like the group that God is the most favorable to.
I guess, but then I don't know why. I still don't know what God is doing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what is God? What is God in this world?
Honestly, with the super meta arc from last time, I'm afraid the author is just about to go full self service on this. Just
If
be
he,
like, yes,
oh
I
my,
was God all this time.
please do not do that. Please do not let that happen.
I mean, that's like literally the worst thing. Like,
Yeah,
like
that
the worst thing, even in Doctor Stone. I feel like people are like, "Oh, I hope it's not this or that." That's what I've been reading online, and I'm
no.
like, "No, the worst thing Inagaki could do is just make himself the Y Man. That is like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
worst thing you could do."
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to my theories when we get to them. But yeah, so we have Ruin saying like, "Oh hey, Ghost, I'd like to be friends with you." So I got your birthday present. Basically, all the souls of all the people that Ruin has murdered, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm your friend now," but more like, "Yeah, friend." So
Yeah,
we have Ruin saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, gobble up that girl. She's a pain in my side." Which really, you should be saying pain in my arse. Uh,
yeah. I mean, that's just some fun censorship,
yeah.
probably.
Um, and then we have Ghost saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to save her for a special treat." Before we have Ruin saying, "Be sure you eat her later. Don't leave a scrap behind. You chew her up nice and good." And yeah, Andy's face is just like, in that bottom panel on page 11, just like, don't you dare take away my waifu from me. I need her to kill me."
Yep. Yeah, but I think I also find it funny that after Andy just comes and slices him up, Ruin is still able to talk. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. How do
Yeah,
you talk right now? Your
yeah. It's
head
like,
is like sliced.
is it like how they do it in South Park with the Canadians?
I guess so.
Yeah. Um yeah, so we have Andy cutting up ruining to little pieces, but even then that's not stopping him. And we have Andy saying like that attack didn't work against him either. What's going on here? And they keep going on saying, why don't you just forget it? You can't touch her in this state. Unlock the girl who maybe could have killed you is no longer part of this world. You should just accept her death. But of course, Andy, being Andy, is not going to accept that and tries to reach out for Fuko before she disappears completely, but not before he gets an epiphany of her saying, "As long as you never forget, what do you think it means to die?" And then this is where we get him revealing like, "Oh yeah, I touched you. You are still alive, Fuko." So yeah, I guess as long as her soul is connected to the world, she's still alive in this world.
So what's interesting with like the Undead Unluck's power system, if you want to call it that, is that I think when Andy remembered these words Fuko told him during the flashback arc or the book arc, or whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
he kind of redefined what death meant because when she said, "What do you think it means to die?" Then he contemplated that Fuko might not be dead yet, and that's when they were able to physically touch. Because if you remember the beginning of the chapter, she couldn't touch him, like their
Yeah,
hands went through each other. So then, but then he could afterwards. So I think it's just a reinterpretation of death. That's kind of why that worked, and then why Andy got hit by a meteor
yeah.
after that.
I guess the way it could be interpreted that as long as the person is still remembered by people in this world, then they are still alive.
Yeah, and I guess that's how Foucault's staying alive. Although I did want to say for this chapter, well, there's a lot of cool things they can do now that ghosts are real. Maybe even like they could find the ghosts of the people they killed earlier in the story. I think that could be one thing they could do this arc. The other thing is just that I'm not sure how I feel about Foucault getting kidnapped, just because we had a similar story when
Ye-
she got kidnapped earlier by Under, and
Yeah. Well, was
it
she
feels a little
kidnapped?
recycled.
Well, was she kidnapped by Under? Because she did go of her own free will.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and that's kind of why I'm more okay with it, just because technically she went along with it. But I just think that even when Fuko was on her own with Under, nothing too much really happened while she was
Yeah.
there. So I'm kind of worried it'll be the similar thing here. Like everyone's speculating, it's like, oh, Fuko's gonna have her own adventures in, I don't know, Ghostland, Underworld, whatever they want to call it. But I'm also thinking she might just be doing nothing, just like last
Oh,
time.
no, she has to do some. Well, she technically did do something last time because she fought Spring.
Well, no, she fought Spring, but that was after like everyone came together. I just meant during that time when she was taken
Oh,
away
yeah.
and stayed with Under. Like she mostly just what she did was she escaped the place just to deliver a message, and then that's about it. Like I thought there would be more, but the story has a way of saying it's like okay, I'm going to set up a cool thing, then do very little with it. That's
Yeah,
the
I
thing
can
with
kind of.
Undead Unluck. They don't really
Yeah.
use their story well enough because they just wanted to have a really fast-paced action story.
Yeah, I guess they're having the Tabata curse of like I don't want my series to be cancelled, so let's keep moving along.
I mean, that's kind of. I think the thing with Black Clover, though, in comparison, and maybe we can talk about more when we get to Black Clover,
Yeah.
is that the Black Clover, I feel like, does do a lot more to establish things and flesh things out than Undead Unluck does. But that's also because I feel like Black Clover, the story was written with the intent of lasting multiple years upon years. Well, this story, I think the author probably already has like a trajectory plan, but they just like to speed it up.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and of course we end out the chapter with Andy getting blasted by another by was it a meteorite that blasted him?
Yeah, because Top says he got struck by a meteorite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, me top 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 pointing out my foolishness there. So yeah, get struck by a meteorite. Uh, your ghost, your soul, as long as it's oh no, they actually do say like so as long as her soul is still around, she ain't dead.
Yep,
Yeah. So yeah, and of course they're gonna have to get Fuko back for like the 80 billionth time.
yep.
Yeah.
It's
So
funny
yeah,
because like a lot of people like remember that poll that manga, Project Manga, like turned out, and
yeah.
like Fuko, she gets like her moments of being a great female lead, but she also has to play the damsel in distress
Oh yeah.
semi frequently as well.
Well, hey, at least it's better than Orihime.
Ouch. I mean, I see what you're saying, but ouch. I
But
still
yeah.
like Orihime. She's
Oh,
great.
oh yeah, I like her, but I wish she would have done some. I wish she would have done more in the series.
That is a fair point.
Yeah.
And Ann Arbor, sorry, we didn't mean to ignore you. I just didn't really have much of a response for waifu on
Yeah.
Life for You, other than it's like now we have the zombie and ghost couple, so that fits.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Undead Unluck. Pretty solid chapter. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next, and hopefully, like you said, Fuko will have much more to do.
Yeah, I hope so. What I'm really hoping is that this arc isn't like the author trying to be like, okay, last time, because I don't know how Japan felt about the spring arc, but if people were like, okay, Fuko took up too much spotlight, now let's take her out of it for a while. I'm just kind of hoping that's not what happened.
Well, kind of weird for them to say that, considering Fuko is the female lead.
I mean, I'm not even saying they said that. I'm just speculating, just because that's kind of what it almost seems like indirectly. Just with okay, Fuko had like a lot of time last time, so now she's going in the background.
Okay, fair enough, I guess. But yeah, so I guess we could talk about Dora Dora next.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Dora Dora. Let's get it up. Uh, so this chapter was something.
Yep.
Yeah,
Overall, I liked it.
yeah. I liked it. I liked it. So I guess it's so I guess we're seeing it now from Jinchiko's perspective here of the attack of the ball
The
spider
Ox
thing.
Bull Demon. Yeah.
Yeah, the oxball demon spider thing. So we have it's starting off going in a rampage throughout the sea as we have more of the samurai recruits seeing it and being like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's the thing from the Great Disaster. They're gonna draw attention, call for reinforcements, and escort all the civilians to shelter. But of course, we have one civilian who this always happens. Like one civilian just trips up for some reason.
Yeah, we just needed to make the characters look cool. Saving them, that's all that's
Yeah,
there for.
yeah. Which which it's the um which it seems like these characters might have something else to do later on because
Um,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
have we seen these two before? Weren't they the two that were rescued like a few chapters ago?
I'm not too sure. I was thinking about that myself. They could be, but they never got names. So
No.
even this
Yeah.
chapter, they don't get names.
Hmm. Okay, fair enough.
But it's fine either way.
Yeah.
Because like basically this chapter, like Jinchi is reflecting on, I guess the last time this happened. I guess then at that point she was still an in training samurai,
Yeah.
so they
And
didn't let her do all that much.
which I really like this. I really like this as well because it's pretty much what I was saying should have happened in My Hero Academia. This whole like um where this whole like I was so weak that they didn't even let me on the front lines. But the more samurai and bystanders saw die, the more frustrated I got with myself. Uh, that was pretty much what I thought was going to happen in the war arc in My Hero Academia. Like somebody was going to be like on the sideline, didn't have like a hero license, and people were begging them like, "Use a quirk, save us," and they were hesitating, and then they let people die because of their hesitation.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Although I don't think there's enough of a time skip for them to get that hero's license. But I see what you mean. They could have just went vigilante here there.
No, no, I mean like someone like just someone like an adult who had like say a quirk like Spider-Man's like could just shoot where bring somebody out, bring somebody back, bring somebody out of the way, but they hesitate because they didn't have their hero license. They were just that like a
Oh, I
random
see. And then
person.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, actually, that would have been actually pretty nice because it could reflect on how people are so conditioned to not use their own capabilities to protect themselves. Yeah, actually,
yeah.
that would be nice.
Yeah, and yeah, so it
Oh,
was
sorry,
kind
go
of
ahead.
yeah, so it's kind of similar here that I saw like, and I was like, why didn't we get this in My Hero Academia? Because that would be because that would have made so much sense. But yeah, so we have Chico saying that yeah, this happened a year ago. She couldn't save people like that back then because she was weak and she had to watch people die, which got herself so frustrated that she wasn't going to let this happen again, and so she goes to attack the ox demon with her Yagio blade of defiance being whirlwind drill.
Yep, that's a
Yeah,
mouthful, but so are all the attacks here.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I did like the exchange between these guys. Or Jinchio was like, "I hate arrogant jerks," but then the spider's like, "I like spirited women." Like this demon is already like way more like have much more personality than a lot of the things we fought before, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Because like even in Undead Unluck, for example, which we just finished talking about, like I like the Umas like Spoiled and Spring, where they have like way more personality when we fight them, in compared to like even Summer, where Summer didn't say or do anything.
Well, someone was like a giant centipede kind of creature.
Yeah, I know, but I just kind of like it when the creatures have some personality because it makes it more fun than fighting a just a mindless monster.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Um. So continuing on, we have Jinchiko who was attacked by one of the paralyzing needles from the spider arcs, and she's saying like the wound's deeper than I thought. And as she's about to probably get the killing blow dealt to her, Kusanagi and Dora save her at the last second, and of course having the notion of the author saying like these two are not a couple, but yet keep putting them in coupling positions.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as long as they keep emphasizing that. Because at the very least, we don't have anything that suggests they have any feelings for each other despite these. So I think that's like just still the author's way of confirming. It's like, yeah, don't worry, guys.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm fine with it.
as soon as people see that image, they're gonna be like, right, fan fiction time.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen if the series lasts long enough.
Yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of which, we're getting the first volume in April. They've announced that that's
Oh
when it's
yeah,
coming
yeah,
out. Yeah.
I
So
saw that.
let let's pray that the volume is at least, I'd say, 30K for the first volume.
Yeah, that would be a very good number to start with, because like Witch Watch and Sakamoto Days were around that number, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And like much like Sakamoto Days is an action manga, so because it's an action manga, it needs to sell better than like that Protect Me Shigemaru, which we're not talking about. I feel like that can sell like garbage and still keep going in the
Yeah.
magazine, just gag
Which
mangas have
which
been staying around.
by the way, have you read any more of that?
I no.
No. Good, 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 because I haven't, and they'll be like, because I'm still baffled. Like, why is this here? Why is this a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, but
but
I think in terms of like axing, if we're just on this topic, Magu-chan basically like confirmed that it's almost over with its last chapter. It literally said in the manga that the story is just about over. And of
wait,
course, we know Dr. Stone will. Oh,
it actually said that.
oh yeah, I posted it on Discord if you want to see it. But yeah, so with that series ending, I think that'll put a little bit of a safety cushion on our series. You know, along with of course Dr. Stone's ending.
Yeah,
So really, on the biggest series at risk potentially, other than I guess that gag manga, unless it's popular in Japan, is probably PPP or P6.
yeah, and I feel like um that
It got reprint, so I think it'll be okay for at least another volume or two, at least.
yeah, but I'm still wondering if it is actually going to last PPPB, because the problem with that series might be the case of like it might work much better as an anime where you actually can hear the music.
Oh yeah, and I mean I agree with that. It's still one of the biggest flaws of the series. That and I feel like the series doesn't do the best job of trying to explain like why the musical pieces that they have are important. Like I've seen
Yeah,
other people, like fans of the series on Twitter, like kind of explain it, and it's pretty cool. But I'm also like not getting most of that from the
yeah.
series itself, which is a bit of a
It's
problem.
like when people like say like, "Oh, read Your Line April manga," and it's like, well, it has the same problem there. Like you wanna hear the music that's going on.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that had a manga.
No, no, it did have a manga, Your Line April. Yeah.
Huh, didn't know that. Okay.
Um.
Anyway, getting back to Durandron.
Yeah.
So then Dora saved Jinchio, and actually Jinchio thanked him for it, which was fun. And they escaped on top of a roof to reconvene and come up with a plan. Now the weird thing is, the when it comes up with the plan, this is where this isn't a huge issue, just like a small nitpick I had. But like Dora had a strategy in mind, which I did like because it proves that our meathead can still think about how to fight. That's always nice to see.
Yeah,
But also, I thought that, considering her battle experience, like Jinchio really should be like the one to take lead in these kinds of things, considering she's fought this thing before. So I know the protagonist has to protagonist, but I also thought that I don't know. I feel like Jinchio, they really should have just followed her lead on this fight.
yeah. Well, unless they could have come to a compromise and said, "All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try your plan first. If that doesn't work, we'll use my plan."
Okay. I mean, they didn't really say that, but I could see that.
Yeah. So yeah, they come up with the plan. They come up with the plan. What I love what I love most about this whole conversation is we'll get into it late. We'll get into it later, but it's kind of like Jinchio says basically what happened in the last chapter where Dora got all berserker crazy and says it a few panels later after they've actually come up with the plan.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like when you okay, we'll get to it. So we have them coming up with the plan. um Jinchio goes out, is basically trolling the spider ox demon, and then we get to the needles being firing at her, and then we come back to the plan being talked about, where let me I'm trying to find it. Um yeah. Yeah, on page 18, where Chichiyo says, Saki, you were a victim of the great disaster last year. This could be dangerous if your emotions get the better of you. And that's basically what happened in the last chapter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that is not, I did find that nice that it was addressed. But I also did want to talk about, I think the big thing in this chapter is like what happened on page 17,
Yeah.
where he mentioned, Dora said, okay, okay, the reason we can't have you like doing the cut is because you could be, you're kind of paralyzed. And then Dora said, it's like, but that's not a problem for me because he did attack me and didn't get paralyzed. And I remember when we saw that, I was thinking, okay, well, that might just be a lot of adrenaline kicking in. But from this chapter,
It
it
seems
kind of
like
suggests there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, it seems like to me, like I said, like Dora does have spiritual energy in him, but it's dormant until his emotions come out. So like he can only use this like spiritual energy in like when he's like in really emotional, like uh I would say like negative emotional state.
That was very similar to Jujutsu Kaisen, if that's true. But I do like Dora's explanation, and honestly, if it wasn't for how much manga I've read in the past, I would have just bought this explanation that he built resistance after last year. But I'm like, nah, no, you're definitely going to be special. And
Yeah,
your
yeah.
theory actually does explain maybe what happened at the end of this chapter, Luke.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. Did you? I said that your theory is probably would explain what happened at the end of the
Oh,
chapter.
oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah, because you see him like, yeah. Because on page 18, on page 19, after the needles start coming out and everything, and he starts attacking with Kusanagi, you yeah, you see like, I oh no, this is Kusanagi charging up here,
Yeah, yeah.
but
No, I'm talking about a little bit later.
okay,
But yeah, so basically the plan was like get him to shoot spikes, and then there'll be a weakness from where the spikes are coming out. Which I'm like, okay, actually that makes sense. And then but they still barely grazed the spider ox demon thing,
yeah,
and Jinchio couldn't back him up because she got stabbed by a needle in distracting her. And what I liked is like I think Dora made the right move where it's like, okay, we did manage to get an opening. If we just keep cutting, we'll be able to get him in. And as we see all these spikes going around him, it kind of just proves he's immune to it because he's
yeah.
still able to like do a sword slash. But what I was saying is on page 22, you see there where you see like this huge amount of spiritual energy and
Yes,
Genichiro comments on
yes,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And that could explain what you were saying. Cause he's getting stabbed by all these needles at once. His body might be responding to it and just releasing all this extra energy. I wasn't sure if it was from him or Kusanagi,
That's
but
what I was
honestly, it could be
thinking.
either.
I was thinking it was from Kusanagi myself when I first read it, but yeah, it could be from either, and yeah, it might get um because it might be a case of like when he's in like an emotional state, because it only seems to happen right after he says, mom, I've made a special friend, we're going to do great things together, so please watch over us from above. It's like he's thinking about his mother and thinking about what she would want him to do, so like getting emotional about that. So again, it might be the case of like he can only release it when he's thinking about like genuine emotions going on throughout him.
Yep. And then they ultimately defeat the thing. And since this is like a really big threat that took out so many samurai before, this could attract some attention.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think will happen after this chapter?
I know what's probably going to happen. Like that, after this, like they're going to pass out Dora and Kusanagi because of just how much they've taken in this chapter. So they're going to probably pass out. Jinchio's probably, I guess, she's probably going to take them to HQ and basically say like, look, these are the guys that did it and everything. Kusanagi, he's a Momonoke, but he helped defeat the spider ox thing. So we can give them a chance. I trust them, and there's probably going to get into an argument, and Jinchio's going to be like, "Well, I'll take them under my wing, and if anything happens, I'll accept the consequences."
That is an interesting one. I was wondering if they were either gonna get caught and like some the samurai group was gonna like come in, like send reinforcements and then realize the fight was over and arrest Dora, or if Jinchio was gonna have enough time to hide them away and just take credit for the fight,
Yeah.
kind of stalling like the inevitable Dora getting discovered.
Oh,
That's the two routes.
I don't want that to happen. It's like, come on, that's that stalling. In the words of Yu-Gi-Oh, stalling for time is a sign of weakness.
I mean, I don't know. I can honestly see it either way, depending on how far the mangaka like wants
Yeah, yeah,
to like last. Because like if he wants like Dora's discovery to be like a bigger thing later on, I could see them like stalling this fight, and then people like trying to figure out, like hearing rumors about Dora without finding him first. Because like let's remember, this is still like a manga. Mangas go around for years, so
yeah,
and we're only
yeah.
at chapter 8,
Yeah,
right?
only at chapter 8, and
Yeah,
um, as it had its first like ranking this week, didn't it?
yeah. It was I think somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it like was even above Ayashimon, if I remember
Let me
correctly.
let me go back and look quickly, because it shouldn't be that far ahead back. So let's
Yeah. But
uh,
closing thoughts, I think Duran Duran still very solid. This fight, for such a like a big demon that was part of Dora's backstory, I'm kind of glad they dealt with it like here and now. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a big bad, but we're going to have to fight later on. But I think taking it out right now is not the biggest of deals, just because this way we can just move on to other threats.
yeah,
And oh,
yeah.
sorry, go
Carry
ahead.
on, carry on.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is, and all manga doesn't need like power scaling where it's like, oh, but this thing took out several samurai, so how did Dora take it out? But because that's not how power levels don't necessarily mean everything. They had a strategy that actually made sense for them to take this thing out. Plus, they were a lot more motivated to take it out. So I would be okay with the demon falling, but uh, there is, I guess, the smallest chance it's not dead yet. So I guess we shouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, that could be the case that it's not dead yet. And also as well, I did find its ranking seventh, so it was above Ayakashi Triangle, Ayashimon, and Undead Unluck.
Yep, thought so. So yeah, pretty good ranking for the beginning.
Yeah. So let's see if it can continue to maintain that ranking.
Yep, and of course sales on April.
Yeah. And oh, we've got a bot. Let's get rid of that
Yep.
bot.
So did you have anything more to say?
Not really. I just really enjoyed the chapter, and hoping we can get them actually meeting the other samurai. Because aside from Jinchio, they've not really had any interaction with the samurai corps at the
Yeah,
moment.
that's true. And that is a
Yeah,
good point. I would like to see more of the samurai.
yeah. So
So in that sense, I would be okay with them showing up next chapter.
so I guess with that out of the way, we can move on to talking about Ayashimon.
Yep.
So this chapter, uh,
Yeah, this is
basically,
basically like a flashback chapter.
yeah, the flashback chapter to Big Sis's basically first incarnate into this world. And of course, we have to start with her in a certain way because she has just been, I guess, born in the flashback.
Yeah, which it also kind of confuses me because like it's times like this I remember that these Shimon are like incarnated in like money and stuff, but she also has this person she is called father to.
I
So
get, I guess the father paid to have her incarnated.
yeah, maybe I'm not sure. Like I feel like there's something there, but that might be later on, and or it might be just something the Japanese people are more familiar with than we are.
Yeah. So, um, hmm. So we have. Oh, what is her name again? Well, there's not. Well, there's no point in trying to remember her name in this chapter, considering what happens to her in the end. But yeah, what was
Oh,
her name
let's see.
again?
I can pull it up. It's got to be like somewhere here near the end. What to do? And let's see. Hashihime.
Ashihime, yeah. So we have Ashihime in the flashback saying, I beg you understand, miss, but your father has become a being of considerable influence in the underworld. Just the fact that you are his daughter would be enough to tempt the unscripturous to take advantage of it. You see, this has me like confused as well because it's like implying that she was she was born for like a number of years. Like in the decades it took taken me to incarnate. Like when did this happen? Like when was she like first I guess conceived?
I don't know. Like I said, that part is very confusing to me, but maybe that'll be explained later once we learn more about Ashimon.
Yeah. Um so we are
Or
so we have
maybe it's one of those common sense things in Japan that we don't
I
understand.
guess so we have basically the flashback of Big Sis being told that her father will come for her, but uh he's become the face of the underworld, and now that she has a physical body, it's taken a bit of time to get used to the world, and everyone's treating her like an outsider. And that she was spending all her time learning about the human underworld so that she wouldn't embarrass her father when they met. And then she was like, "Oh, he's coming to meet me. He's coming to meet you." But it turns out it's not her father, but Hi,
Hashihime.
Hashihime. Yeah. Um, and then we cut back to the present where we have her in her beast Gilfer for whatever it is, jumping off the building before we have Hashihime escaping the clutches of Dopo's men, uh, getting away from them, and Big Sis or Urura saying that because of what she did for because of what Hashimi did for her, she can't even die before we get a fiery ice explosion from Dopo, uh, which if anything, still making him one of the more threatening villains we've got in a while.
Yeah. I mean, they do a good job of like just emphasizing how strong he is.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of like what you predicted that what happens at the end of this chapter, like they kind of escape because there's no way they can beat this guy at this moment in time.
Nope. And that
Yeah.
is nice to have like in the story. Like I was saying with the we just finished Duran Duran, but I was wondering if that demon was going to be a later game boss, but it could just be dead now, and I'm okay with it. But for Ayashiman, I kind of want Dopo to be a big threat.
Yeah, like I've been saying, I want him to be like, okay, he's gonna be like the yeah, I could see him basically taking on the role that Bakura did in Yu-Gi-Oh, where he was like where he's like a recurring villain up until the final arc, where he's like, okay, now it's my time to come out of my shell, do my thing, and basically meet my end.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. But yeah, Dopo is back, and then he is so determined to kill her. So Big Sis, whoever she is, like apparently she's important enough that Dopo needs to like destroy her now.
again,
Would
I again I believe that I'm going for the fact that they're uncle and niece. The father is his brother.
could be there's got to be a reason she was hidden away for so long. But I think Hashihime is like still hiding something that from her. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. So we have Dopo pulling out his mask. Like, what is the? Did they ever say what the nature of the mask is?
I think it's just like the mask is just kind of like the Ashiman for like all look human, but they're not actually human, right? So I think it's like when
Yeah.
they get rid of their mask, they discard their human form and go into their true form, so to speak.
Okay. That
That's
that make that makes sense. Yeah,
like
because
remember like the I forgot his name, the boss that
yeah,
Moro fought last time. Like
yeah.
he removed his mask, he was just like a cube thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
I can
forgot.
see that being the thing. Yeah, and we also have Ten saying Dopo's in a whole different league, and he hasn't even pulled out his mask yet. So, like, what do you think Dopo's actual form is going to look like?
Uh, best guess right now, since he's like ice based, might be a Yuki Ono, an ice demon.
Okay,
So,
I could see him I I can see him as that, but also like he takes on the form of like a snow tiger because you have like his mask looking like a cat's face.
ooh, I actually like that. I like that theory.
Yeah,
Like a snow, either leopard or a Bengal tiger kind of thing.
yeah, like a snow leopard or a snow tiger.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So then we have him say so when we have Ten saying like, "Oh no, the mask is out. We're in big trouble." And we have Dopa being told that the Omni Bureau is coming and him like going, "Oh, who cares? My executives should pick up on this mess by now. They'll be on their way." Okay, so we're actually okay. So now we're getting the henchmen of Dopo coming into the story.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, that leaves an interesting question for what'll happen next time. Like, are we gonna just be hunted down? Is that like the next arc, so to speak?
Yeah. Um. Hmm. That is a good point. That is a good point, and that I didn't actually consider. Like, will they, uh, will they be hunted down? And I don't think they will. Like at this point, I think they'll have enough time to escape, but people will be on the lookout for them probably 24/7.
Hmm, yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah. Let me just see as any no new comments. So I guess Ann Arbor's gone away at this point.
Could be, but
Yeah,
it's fine either way.
yeah, it's fine either way.
Um,
So we have Dopo saying, "So what if the Omni Bureau comes? Even if it means starting girl at war, I'm going to kill that girl here and now." And then we get another flashback from Uru's perspective, with Hashimi saying, "The power held in this blade." So basically, talking about the blade again, but also saying what its limitations are, because of course, every transformation power has a time limit on it.
yep,
Yeah.
just how it
Uh,
works.
Yeah, and then we have Hashihama herself turning into whatever that thing is.
I think it's just the form that Maru fought in the beginning, like early chapter 3 or something.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but what is it? It's like a golem, like an ice golem or something.
I think so. I mean, I'd have to like go back to that previous chapter and check it out. Let's see. Ayashima, it's chapter 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, it was chapter 2, I guess. Okay, yeah, chapter 2. Let's see. What do they call it? Yeah, Yokai Hashihime, the Kijin who's guarded under bridge. Okay, it's like a metal giant.
Okay. Oh, so it's metal. Oh, I thought it was something else. It doesn't because it.
Because I think I remember, like when she was fighting more near the end, she mentioned something about steel.
Okay.
Let
All
me
right.
see. Give up your mere fly to me. My waxen armor is stronger than steel. Okay, I guess
Oh,
it's like
okay.
she's a wax golem,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
That makes sense because it looks like she's melting in the bottom panel. It's like how can it be steel and metal if she's melting? Okay, yeah, that makes sense of her being wax. So yeah, and it makes more sense why Doppel's ability would work on her so effectively when it on page 14 where he just blasts her with like fiery ice. So
Yep,
I guess we'll call that his ability now, fiery ice.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, pun intended. Uh,
Pun completely intended.
yeah, and we have him saying, Hashihime, don't you think you've picked the wrong side to devote yourself to? That girl hasn't inherited anything of his, nothing. Okay, so why does he want to kill her?
I don't know, but she's really desperate to kill her because, like, apparently her being alive is like very dangerous. Because I think in a previous page, on page 9, he says it's better off you die for both this town's sake and for his. So she disrupts the power balance in some way.
Yeah, huh. I
I just
don't
don't
know.
know how or why.
Yeah. So we have Dopa saying that Uru's father hid her away and threw her away, and then we have Hashimi saying he did not, I swear it, and then we have Uru just remembering all the times that Hashimi said that and saying like if you believed you were abandoned, you believed wrongly. He was concerned for your safety, so that's why he didn't get involved. He didn't visit you casually. Okay, yeah, but at least visit her once.
I feel like there's something she's not saying of why he didn't visit. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. I'm not sure if the dad sees her as like a tool or if Hashihime like there's like something bad would happen if they came into contact.
Hmm.
Um,
Possibly. Possibly. Maybe if they came into contact, that would destroy the whole universe.
something like that. I could see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's more to it than just like dad wouldn't come to see me. And we'll probably
Yeah.
learn about that much later though.
Oh yeah. Well, I can see that. Hopefully we learn more about it later. But at the same time, I kind of like thinking like really just like that we couldn't get like a moment here where it said, "Can I get one visit?" And then Hashim is like, "Actually," and then dot no. So like that would at least give us an idea of like, okay, yeah, there is something being hidden here. Yeah, but then we have Hashim is saying to Uru saying, "Hold your head high. You are Chairman Kyori's daughter." Having her run away, and Dopo ends up delivering the coup de grace to Ashihime as we get confirmation that she is deceased because we see on the final panel money splattering everywhere.
Yep. So yeah, I guess I mean, then again, characters in this series, or the Ashimon, don't really die. They just kind of uh, go in spirit, and she might get reincarnated later.
She might
However
get
that works.
reincarnated later, but
Like maybe that'll be
oh,
one of like the objectives in the story. We have to
oh,
reincarnate hers for
oh,
reasons.
I've just thought about something.
What's that?
What if Uru has also been reincarnated multiple times, but every time she's been reincarnated by her father, something terrible has happened to him?
Maybe because we still don't understand their connection and how father and daughter work for Ashimon. So
Yeah,
maybe.
or maybe or maybe Uru was human, then she died and sort of like got turned into an Ayashimon.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but then I also don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know, but like you said, we're probably going to find out later because we're only on chapter 10.
Yep.
Well, that's a sign of a series lasting for not over 200 chapters because this author doesn't like I assume doesn't like to do over too many chapters, but definitely over
Yeah, probably
100
not.
chapter. But definitely over 100 chapters. That's a sign that the series is lasting quite well when we've got these many questions popping up.
Yep, I agree with that. Also, we have a bot if you want to get rid of that.
All right, I'll get rid of the bots. But yeah, so where do we go from here?
Yeah, so yeah, we kind of talked about that. They could be on the run from those other executives. They could be hunting them down, and that might be why Dopo mentioned them. Or they could just be in hiding for a little while and just recuperating their strength. I once had a theory before that they might go and try to find those other factions outside the syndicate, outside the Enma syndicate, to like fight off the Enma syndicate. But that might, so it could be that we have those arcs where we go recruit people from them. Could be that we could have a training arc for Moro. There's a lot of ways they could go, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll definitely need a training out for Mora because basically, that panel on the last page, yeah, not looking so good.
Nope, he is definitely not.
No, and he's probably going to be like, I have to get up, I have to fight Dopo again, and yeah, and Ten or someone's going to be saying like, you idiot, look how badly you banged up. And he's like, oh no, it's not a problem, and then he just falls back again. It's like, no, we are training you whether you like it or not. Yeah,
Yep.
because I feel like somebody has to say to him at some point, "Oh, you want to be a shonen protagonist? Well, what do the shonen protagonists do? They train."
Yep. That is how it goes.
Yeah,
And it'll
so
be fun because Moro's never probably had to train for a while. Or sorry, I
no,
shouldn't say never, but hasn't trained for a while.
no, and I could just imagine him doing like all this really harsh training and people pointing out, and just people like getting Dragon Ball and going, "That's what Goku had to do," or getting like, or getting like chains wrapped around him, and they're like, "Why have I got chains wrapped around?" Ichigo had to do it. So like they'll just be going through all the basic training from other shonen manga, and him being like, "This is ridiculous. Like, that character had to do it. He's the MC. That character had to do it. He's the MC." And him just going, "Come on already."
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Ayashimon. Pretty solid chapter, I would say. But
Yeah,
I
I would
still
agree. I mean, it's
I
just kind of a transition chapter, so to
yeah.
speak. Like it just ends off the last thing, but it was nice for what it was.
Yeah, but I still want to find out like exactly what Uru's form is actually called. What is that? Yeah. But yeah, I guess with that we can either move on to talking about Black Clover or Ayakashi Triangle.
Let's see. Well, I guess we're not getting so usually our Black Clover fans are usually here. So I
No.
wanted to save that one, but let's just talk about it because the Black Clover has a lot to talk about.
Yeah, because I think for Boyle is in bed at this point because it's midnight for him probably. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that
midnight
makes
for
sense.
him. Yeah, so yeah, quite a lot happened. Well, I want to say a lot, but really, it really feels like it really feels like we're moving along at a steady pace, but I don't know why we were talking about Tabata being fast paced, but now it seems like he's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, that is very true. Like this fight's going on for a bit, and I like it. I do
Yeah,
like it.
I like it, and I think what his mindset is like. Okay, this is Lucifero we're talking about here. This is not going to be a walk in the park.
Well, no, that would be kind of an insult, honestly, to his
Yeah,
own story.
yeah. So we have it starting off with oh, who is it? Who is it again?
Hang
On
on.
page one.
Seke.
Oh, Seke. Yeah, Seke. So we have him saying that it's all the king's fault. This is literally hell. Yeah, pretty much summing up what's happening. Yeah, it's literally hell. With a legendary demon, a horde of monsters, the gigantic mass of more monsters, and finally the king of the monsters who just took care of all the captains by himself. Yep, pretty much curb stomped all the captains. And despite what Faboyo likes to think, I was like, yep, they're gonna get curb stomped, and they did.
Yep. Which again, I'm actually happy that happened.
Yeah. So then we have Seki questioning how on earth is standing and fighting against Lucifer at this point. But I guess as well, like we said, it's probably the barriers got up that's preventing him from being succumbed to the gravity ability.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Are you
sorry, I was
okay?
pulling up. Yeah, I'm just pulling up the chapter.
Okay. All right. Uh,
You can keep going.
yeah, so then we have we have Lucifer saying give that back to me, and Uno activating conjunction just as Lucifer slams his fist into the ground, and they're able to pull Asta away from him as turns into his alternate form and takes a strike at Lucifer. But of course, as we've established, he can't be caught. And I'm glad that that's been brought, that's been addressed again. Like, yeah, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think any weapon will be able to cut Lucifero.
Well, except for Asta's sword, which confirmed could cut Lucifero.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I think, yeah, it could. Yeah, it cut him, but I don't think it'll cut him all that well. I don't like. Here's the thing with Lucifer. I could see him like you can't take him down by with physical strength. That I feel like that's probably going to be the thing with him. Like physical strength is not going to be able to take this guy down. You have to use some sort of other tactic, kind of like you've seen Digimon, haven't you?
I've seen basically all of them except I didn't fully finish the reboot, and I'm not watching Ghost Stories yet. But otherwise, I've seen everything.
All right, yeah, I could see Lucifer basically having a sort of like akin to my Oismon, how my Oismon couldn't
Oh,
be
how he like
defeated.
turned to bats.
No, how he couldn't be defeated with raw power like that. He just
Mm.
couldn't, and he had to be defeated in sort of like a more spiritual way. So like he was defeated with the arrow.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be interesting if they did that route, because there's a lot of religious themes in this story. Of
Yeah,
course,
which begs the question of, are we going to get angels coming down? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I do want to see angels at some point in the story. I think
Yeah,
that
I
would be
think
so great.
everyone wants to see angels at some point. So, oh, which means you know what we're gonna probably get then in Black Clover. God.
Yeah, and then it's gonna be like, who fights God first? Undead Unlock or Black Clover?
Yeah, and it turns out that God is the curator of Yami's world, which is our world. So it's basically like the God of everything. Yeah. So we have saying this isn't even like it was with Xenon. It's a sheer simple overwhelming difference in magical power. So yeah, establishing just how big of a threat Lucifer is as Meliona comes into attack again and basically gets knocked back again, and we get another image of that other devil. Like again,
I
I,
forgot he was there until that panel came up.
yeah, like Lucifero. I am confirming he is Lucifero. I am confirming that guy is the real
Hmm.
Lucifero.
I mean, that would be something if they put
Oh,
everything into
all
barely
right.
taking this thing down.
Actually, it might actually be the case because if you look at their eyes, like you've got Lucifero next to him. If you look at their eyes, they're very similar eyes.
Yeah, I did notice that, but I still don't know if I fully believe that theory, just because there's a lot of third person talking, depending on how we go about it.
Uh, hmm.
But yeah, so then a lot of this, then we have Seke, who's basically like notices having like two books and then being like, okay, is able to do all this crazy stuff because he's just born different. And yeah, that's kind of story. He's just
Yeah,
like born blessed with all this kind of magic.
yeah.
But then at
So
the same time, like everybody else is also giving it their all, including Mimosa. Next page.
yeah, so cut themselves like everyone else is doing their bit, Seke. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're just being pompous.
Yep. He literally tries to convince Mimosa to ditch the battlefield. I'm like, Mimosa's not going to do that.
No, no.
And
So
then
then,
I did like that one line where she said, "I'd really rather run away with Asta, but that's not what Asta wants." I
yeah,
mean, I like these moments where she like really does care about Asta.
yeah, I do as well. I do as well. So at least there's some people. At least there was some people who acknowledged Asta right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of this
Uh,
was just Seke flashbacks, though. I didn't expect a whole chapter dedicated to this guy. Gonna be honest.
yeah, I didn't as well, and I don't know if I wanted it.
I mean, I kind of low key wanted it, but just because like he's a fun character, even if he's not like the deepest character. Uh, Because, like I said, like there are other series out there, like My Hero, where they barely develop the characters who are supposed to be important. So that Black Clover, they develop everybody, including the comic relief characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Do you think
obviously,
it's
I'd rather have that. It's just me.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it's a bit too much at times? Because if they're developing everyone, then doesn't that kind of take away from some of the development that's needed for some of the other characters? I'm just trying to think who out of the Black Ball, like Gray, like I don't think Gray's had much development. I mean,
And
yeah, she's
she's
had,
had some, yeah,
yeah.
I
I
think
was
she
gonna
is.
say, I was gonna say she had some, but compared to other characters, I feel like she's desperately needs it.
I wouldn't say desperately, because Gray, like, we got her backstory, we got some hints about her magic being more than we think it is, and I think Gray's come a long way. For the
Okay.
Black Bulls, I think most of them are fairly well developed. Yeah, I can't think of anyone within the Black Bulls. Maybe outside of it, yeah. But
Oh, all
Black
right.
Bulls
Fair
themselves,
enough.
I think, are fair. And
All
yeah,
right.
that's the
Fair enough.
thing, though. I think your idea makes sense that if you spend so much time with so many other characters, we won't have enough time for like the core cast. And to some extent, that is true. But I feel like Black Clover in general does a good job developing its cast as a whole. Like I haven't read One Piece yet. I will eventually, but I think it's a similar case where One Piece. I know they develop like a huge portion of their cast, from what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But the thing with One Piece is that it has way more characters than Black Clover.
yeah, so in that sense, I think Black Clover can still get away with it just because it's still like a more concentrated cast.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. That. Okay. I can see that. I can see that. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and but
Uh,
there are series that are just like way too much packed with characters, and I think Undead Unluck, weirdly enough, I think is a good example of a series with like a cast where it tries to develop them individually, but almost feels like everything's half-hearted. So it kind of leaves the cast like very half-baked as a whole.
yeah. And
So
then yeah, and then we get the crowning achievement of casts that try to develop everyone but feels half baked. My Hero Academia.
yeah, which I mean, I don't think Horikoshi even tried with everybody.
No.
Yeah, I still think Doctor Stone probably. Well, I don't know. In terms of full cast, it's kind of tough between Black Clover and Doctor Stone.
Yeah, I
But
would say I would say in terms of the core cast, I think Dr. Stone has done it better than Black Clover.
okay, I'll give you that. The core cast for sure.
Yeah, so like if
But Black Clover just has a more expansive cast,
oh yeah,
so
yeah, I'll
that's
agree. I'll agree with that. I won't question that. But I would say
yeah.
like the core cast like Senku, Kohaku, Gen, Ryu, Suika, Chrome, like even Magma has like gone through a complete character arc himself.
Yep. And Sky Z also, I guess, really enjoys One Piece characters.
Yeah. Oh, he's he- oh he's here. Yeah, he's here now. Yeah, we've Sky said we you I know you're not caught with Undead Unluck yet, so I'm glad you didn't stick around for that one. Yeah. And One Piece stars better characters than Black Clover. Yeah, I can definitely see that there are way better characters in One Piece than there are in Black Clover, in my opinion, as well. Both Black Clover, yeah, they do have good casts, but I would say Doctor Stones I do like a lot more than Black Clovers.
I think that's fair. I think I definitely have more of an emotional attachment to them, but I think Black Clover does a good job in general with their cast work.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
I woke up as you started the streams and read all the chapters quickly. Oh, got it. It's one of those days.
uh,
I feel you, man.
oh right, yeah. I woke up, yeah. Oh, I can tell you, yeah, it's been one of those days for me. Whereas, like, I've had work, and then came home and read the chapters, uh, and I was like, and I was like, uh, and I was like tired because I was up late last night playing Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yep, I've been hearing good things about that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. That's my opinion on it at the moment. But yeah, going back to Black Clover, we get Seki's flashback, where he's talking about him being the top dog and acing life. He had it all, and everyone basically praising him at the hell of him before meeting Asta. And basically being told like, "Oh, you're a jerk, but you got tough and made it this far. Let's both do our best together." And say, we have him saying, "I don't have magic." Oh, wait, no, this is this what? Blah, blah. How have you pronounced the name again? Hello, Pie Jams. I think he. I think he is. I think he is gone off a little bit. I think we've lost him a little bit. So in the meantime, whilst we're getting back up, I'll read your comment. Sky said the chapters got released at like 4 a.m. for me, so I always have to read them in the morning. Yeah. Oh, are you
Wait,
there?
can you hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear you again. We can hear you
It was
again.
weird. The stream first, the Viz website went down. I was still hearing you as you were saying stuff. I sent you some messages,
All right,
but that was weird.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing any messages. I wasn't seeing any messages. Yeah, rest in peace. He's dead. Yeah. Andy used his undead ability to bring him back to life.
Yeah, guys, sorry about that. I usually use my phone for this because in the earlier streams I kept crashing. But when I tested this morning, everything was fine. So I thought we'll be okay. So the fact that I came back without having to do anything is, I think, still a good sign.
Yeah, that is
But
still
we'll
a good
keep going.
sign.
If I crash again, don't worry, I'll come back in a bit.
All right. So yeah, I was saying like it's the who's is this how do you pronounce the name?
Mimos? Wait, who are you pointing to?
The flower healer person.
Oh, Mimosa. Yes, Mimosa.
Is it her saying I don't have enough magic? I don't have enough magic. The recovery isn't working the way it should.
Yeah, that's her.
Oh yeah.
Because like
So
you can see her flowers disappearing,
all
like in
right.
the panel right above it.
Oh yeah. You can. So that raises the question of like, does Lucifero's presence affect how magic works as well?
I just thought she's running out of magic because she just like undeaded people before. So how much more magic can she have at this point?
Oh yeah, good point. But yeah, we have her thinking that the spell came undone. He's nowhere near recovered before we see Asta thanking her and just standing up, looking like he is at probably like about 10% at this point.
Yep, he is very, very dead looking. It's actually hilarious how like dark this like scene looks. I love the artwork in this chapter.
Oh yeah, definitely. But if Asta does go back into this fight, I'm worried. I'm worried that he could potentially lose one of his arms again. Because didn't he lose one when he was trying to contract with Liebe?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then Libe just gave it back. So yeah, he could potentially get some bodily harm. But like SkyZ said, we might have just power friendship overcome this somehow. I don't think Seke is going to be like important in this fight. If they spent a whole chapter on him, I feel like he's going to somehow be important to like dealing with this situation. but I have
Yeah.
no idea how they're gonna beat
Uh,
Lucifero.
I don't,
Except like the only thing is that Mimosa or not Mimosa, Marileona, she keeps getting stronger apparently every time she fights.
how does that work?
I don't know, but he they purposely mentioned that on page 6. This
Yeah.
woman's magic keeps growing.
Oh,
So
right.
I have a
Huh.
feeling that's going to be a part of it too. Like Tabata,
Cause
like I said, does a good job of like laying out these fights like this, like slowly giving us the keys of what's about to happen.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I've just got. We'll say I'll save it for the end because it has nothing to do with the chapter, but it's to do with Black Clover. So I'll save it to the end. But yeah, we have Mimosa saying, "I can't get through to him right now. I'm begging Asta not to die," and we have Seke saying like, "Well, hey, come on now. I don't get. What's the point? You're still completely trash. What do you think you could do like that?" Basically, saying what we've been saying. Like all the captains went at that guy at once, and they couldn't win. And what are you gonna? What are you gonna do, Asta? At this point, yeah. Um, uh, saying you're nothing. You're nothing. You're just like yeah. Even though you're thinking about Asta taking strikes at Lucifer, you're kind of in the right here, Seke. What can Asta do at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. I do like that Seke moment though, where he was like, "Why didn't I try to get stronger?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Because I feel like he could have gotten stronger. He could have,
He really could have.
like, when I first read Black Clover, I thought like he might be the main rival for Asta. Sort of like he gets inspired by Asta to get stronger every time, and then be like, "Hey, Asta, I've gotten a lot stronger. Do you wanna spar now?" And he's still one step behind Asta, but no, didn't really go down that road. Yeah. So then
Yeah,
we
I mean, I also thought that for a bit, but he became more of a comic relief character. But now it looks like they're turning him into a more realized character.
yeah.
But you know what? The weird thing is, when I was reading this chapter, I thought about what you were talking about with My Hero. If we had Monoma after the war arc look at our characters and all the things they've been through and have like his own character growth moment, that's kind of what Seke had this chapter.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I really wish that had happened in My Hero Academia. Like he was the one who was like, "I'm gonna quit," because you'd figure that some students would have quitted in My Hero after the war arc.
Yeah, I mean that is fair because like a lot of those kids came into this profession with very stupid views of what heroism is.
Yeah, and then actually seeing that happen in a war, seeing people die, like that would have put me off. Like if I was in that field, I would have been like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this. I don't want to risk my life for this." Yeah. So yeah.
And that's an understandable reaction from a child.
Yeah, Sky said, "I really don't understand how they'll win. He's too OP, but I can't see them losing." Like, here's the thing. It is the thing as well because I feel like, I feel like the only thing I could do that can happen now is that they lose that they lose this fight. Like, they probably lose this fight. Some of them, like possibly Yami and Lebe get absorbed by Lucifero, and then they have to go and retrieve them again. But yeah, I see them losing this fight. Like I can't see them lose. I can't see them lose. Like I can see them losing because I feel like at this point they have to lose, like to just show, like yeah, we're not at that level yet.
Yeah, we're really not. But at the same time, it is a shonen, so it's either like how do they get out of this without dying?
And it's simple. Lucifer retreats, but not without taking Yami and Lebe because they're
Yeah, I have a feeling Lucifer retreating is somehow the only way you can do this.
yeah. Because again, he's not at full strength himself as well. Lucifero, like he's only at like I'd say 80%.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the exact percentages, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, and we round out the chapter by Asta just basically walking off by saying, "I'm on my way to you." Yeah, looking pretty epic there, but also like looking like he is about to pass out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, I can't wait to see. Like, I think Lebe and him are going to try to pull off another union, but I don't know if it'll work.
I don't think it will work. I just feel like they have to die if they lose. No, they don't have to die. They don't have to die to lose. Like I
Because
said, they
otherwise
could.
it would feel like the same thing that happened with Zenon leaving with Yami without killing them. Okay, I see what you mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see what you mean there. I see what you mean there. But at the same time, Lucifer uh, doesn't give two craps about the humans. So he'll probably just be like swatting them away like flies and being like, okay, I'm gonna bugger off now.
Yep, that
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that.
But yeah, what I was gonna say was, I was talking with Tyler Pancake the other day about upcoming death battle, like future Screw Attack death battles, and we were talking about who would actually be suited for death battles from Black Clover, and I came up with a good one, and I want your opinion on it. Natch from Black Clover versus Shunsui from Bleach.
Wait, um,
Wait, what?
wait, are you asking like
Yeah, I'm asking like who do you think would do you think that's a good matchup and who do you think would win?
between Mash and Asta?
Uh, no, between Nash from Black Clover and Shunsui from Bleach because they're both shadow
Oh,
users.
not okay. I was like, I was
Natch.
probably,
I
okay.
I'm trying to remember. It just sounds like Natch to me.
Pretty sure it's not, but and because like when you said Nash, I was thinking about Mashal, so that's why I was very confused for a second. Okay, so Knocked from Black Clover versus who?
Shunsui from Bleach.
Wait, who is Shunsui again?
The Captain Commander, the with the children's game made reality, but it's more like shadow. It mostly uses shadows.
Oh wait, I thought that wasn't the Captain Commander the guy who controlled fire?
No. He in the final arc he died, and Shunsui took over.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember enough then about the final arcs to make that judgment
All
because
right,
I'm blanking on that.
all right, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, but that was one of them, and another one was like Luck versus Sinetsu from Demon Slayer.
Strangely enough, I almost want to give it to Zenitsu because he is weirdly OP when he's asleep. But Luck eventually will be stronger by the end of the series.
Yeah, probably. Spoilers. Let's go. So, so,
Wait, what did we spoil? Bleach? Did we spoil Bleach or
oh
something?
yeah. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. If I spoiled a bit of Bleach. Lamo, look, his clapping. There's no debate. Okay, then. Sky said, and probably, I want your opinion on this one. Me, Meliosa, the person who I always call Kenpachi's waifu, versus
Merliona.
Kenpachi. Meliona versus Kenpachi Saraki. Death
Dude,
battle.
Kenpachi's like a whole different level of OP. He's like crazy. Everybody in Soul Society is scared of him for a reason. Yeah, no, my boy Kenpachi's taking that win. I
All right.
don't
All right.
like,
Yeah,
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 yep.
Kenpachi.
I'm with
Yeah,
Skyzed's
because
with me on that.
yeah, I only picked this up because with this whole death battle, it's because Tanjiro's the next death battle. Like they've announced it, it's Tanjiro, and I'm just thinking like who could fight him, and I was just and I think at some point somebody in the chat said Asta. So like, yeah, who would actually if it is Asta, who would win, Tanjiro or Asta?
Let's see. Tanjiro does get kind of crazy strong near the end, but I feel like I would still give it to Asta right now.
Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah. It was just ideas that I was thinking of, and just wanted your opinion on them. Yeah. So yeah, that was Black Clover. Pretty, pretty intense, and hopefully we can we hopefully you see. How long do you think this fight is actually going to go on for?
That's a good question. Honestly, like I didn't even expect to be this long. So I could see it for another like 2, 3 chapters easily.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens where we get like oh my word! Oh my, where we get everyone from all the other squads coming in, not just like the vice captains and everyone else.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I'm still expecting this fight to go on for a bit longer, which I like. It's a very climactic fight. Sky's Ed says 10 chapters. Yeah, honestly,
10
like for
more.
Black Clover, that would be quite something.
That would be quite something, uh, which I'm not complaining about because it'll mean like Tabata. I feel like kind of has like got in the groove of how to make long fights.
Yep. Which I think, honestly, the Spade arc did a pretty decent job of.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that was Black Clover, and now we can move on to. Thankfully, it didn't get skipped over this week. Ayakashi Triangle.
Yep. Ah, thank God. Okay. It's going to need a second to pull that one out. All right, so Ayakashi Triangle.
So yeah, continuing on from the end of the last chapter where Matsuri basically has some form of amnesia but doesn't, and basically thinks he's now fully a girl.
Yep.
And yeah, and we have Lucy say, Matsui, it's oddly quiet today. Okay, what are you thinking there, Lucy? Are you thinking more about aliens taking over his body?
Probably, but they don't really go into it, so I'm going to pretend that it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. So then we have so then we have I could just imagine Matsui like in a girly voice going, Shogo Nano Kuru. Like just thinking like that in that voice, where if this moment ever gets animated. So and speaking of Shogo, we cut over to him basically coming to the realization of what is actually going on, and his familiar saying that oh the Ayakashi that did it to him was inexperienced and doesn't know how to undo the jutsu, and basically saying like, oh my god, this is your chance to finally get a girlfriend, and Shogo being a tsundere going, oh shut up.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I like how even the bird post gay shipping them.
Yeah. Well, does it count as like being a gay relationship if if it's in a if the person is in a female body?
That is a very good question, honestly. And that is probably not a conversation I'm ready to
No,
have.
no. Let's skip over that. Skip over that. Forget what I just
It's a
said.
good
Forget what.
discussion topic, but at the same time, I just don't know the answer to it.
Yeah. So then we have Rio basically saying like, "Oh, I see a tea kettle jutsu, and yeah, I can undo it. Hypnotic jutsu shouldn't be that strong." And we have Rio basically doing something that if this was um uh re Ritsu, oh blah blah blah. Oh, what's the name again? What's the Reiko? That not no, is it? Oh, what is it? Let me find out the character's name again. Sorry.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but you do that. Anyway, so then Rio and Suzu basically are going to try to fix Matsuri, and the way Rio goes about it is like sniffing her up, because that's what Rio does. And then the funny part is that Matsuri runs away, and Suzu's like, okay, we have to go after him. But Rio is just heartbroken, and I found that hilarious. She's like, I can't believe he rejected my advances. Which, honestly, when I think about it, it is kind of funny that Matsuri really never fully pushed away Rio from any time she was like being all close and creepy. So there's a part of him that's just okay with it, which is kind of
Yeah,
funny when I thought about it after this chapter.
yeah.
I think my favorite part is I'm forgetting his name. Oh, Shirogane. Shirogane, when he
Shirogane,
was
yeah.
like, "I get a grip. I thought you took pride in your perverted ways." I'm like, dude, how is that a sentence from your mouth?
I know. Roachka, that was it. Roachka. I was just thinking like,
Oh,
if this
Roachka.
if this was Roachka, like ban it right away.
Yeah. You know, Oh, I actually forgot to talk about this in the beginning of the stream.
Yeah.
But Manga Plus right now is doing a thing where they're just released like all of their serialized English series. All the chapters are open for people to read, not just the latest ones. Although the catch is you can only read those other chapters like one time. So I don't get that. But
I don't get.
so
Wait,
for the
what?
whole year of 2022, what?
Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, for the whole year of 2022, you can basically just go on Manga Plus and read all their stuff. Except when I looked in Ayakashi, they still didn't release those two chapters. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well,
so it's not
actually,
all of them. I see.
I'm on the Manga Plus at the moment, and it's saying our current license prevents us from publishing the in between chapters.
Wait, hang on. I mean, that shouldn't be it. Are you on the website or on the app?
I'm on the website.
I mean, I didn't test it with the website, tested it with the app, but it should still be there. Here,
No,
I'll
no,
forward you the tweet in a second.
yeah, but I'll print screen. I'll print screen what I'm looking at right now, and then you'll be able to see.
Okay. Uh,
So yeah, there, I've
okay.
sent it to you.
Got it. Let me just take a look at that. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing that. That is weird because here, let me just send you a screenshot of what I'm seeing from the app while we're doing screenshots.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, if this was Roachka, they'd probably be banning. They'd probably be banning it. But yeah, I loved Shiragani's line because it's like that is going to be the single most out of context line he has ever said.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
I'm
So,
also gonna look up that tweet. Oh, here it is. Found it. Maybe
huh?
it
I guess it is just on the app then.
I don't know because in the tweet, I think they linked it to the website, so I just thought it would be the same.
Let me. I'll look at it later and see if
Yeah,
and
and
see it
that
might.
tweet is from the editor in chief of the
Yeah, but yeah,
Shonen
yeah,
Plus.
but yeah. Oh, we can read all the chapters except the ones that you won't release for Ayakashi Triangle because you're too scared to take out a few pages.
Yeah, I found that so funny. But I mean, the good news is for the people who really want to catch up on a lot of manga this year, like
Yeah,
there's a lot of manga to read now.
yeah. So yeah, we have. So yeah, going back to the chapter itself, we have Matsuri basically being a scaredy cat. And wanted to see Shoga more so that he can feel safe. And Suzu basically leads him into the like this is what I don't get about Japanese high schools, like the nurse ward being like an actual ward in high schools.
Yeah, like in my school, the nurse's room was just like a where the nurse is and maybe like a chair to sit at. But in Japan, there's like a whole bed
Yeah.
and everything. I'm like, what is going on in Japan? That's like, okay, our students are so ill, we need to put them on a bed. At that point, send them to the hospital. Like,
Yeah, I know. Like I guess it's because Japan just has a lot more physicality activities, physical training.
I don't even know. It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah. So then, uh,
This
so
guy
then,
that didn't even have a nurse's room.
what? Okay, what kind of school did you go to? This guy said.
Maybe the joke is he was homeschooled. That would be funny.
Okay, were you actually homeschooled? If you're actually homeschooled, I'll
I
be
was
like,
just making that up. I'm pretty sure he went to public school.
all right. So then we have Suzu saying that her leg doesn't feel right. Obviously, a lie. Can I
Oh,
ask for?
Catholic school. Okay, actually, no, that actually checks out. When I went to Catholic school, like for my first few years, I don't think they had a nurse place either. Now that I
Okay.
think about it, but I was really young, so I don't
Yeah.
remember it too well.
Yeah, I don't remember because I went to a Catholic elementary/primary school, so I don't. I don't remember it having a nurse's room. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um,
That is
so yeah,
kind of
we
funny.
have Suzu leading Matsuri into the nurse's room, basically making an excuse of she wants a massage, and but obviously it's a plan to try and trap Matsuri and awaken the madness that lies within Matsuri. However, 5 minutes later, she's in the position that again, if this was Roachka, it would be banned.
What I find funny about this is, I know
Because
we
it,
were just talk.
I know
Okay, go ahead.
I've got the idea of what you're going to say. What you're going to say. It's literally what Roachka said in that chapter.
That's not what I was actually going to say. What I was going to say is, you just talked about how it's weird that Japan has like these beds in nursing school. I find it weird that in Japan people can just ask for massages from their classmates. Like, hey, can you just massage my legs for me? It's like, how is that a casual thing you can just ask somebody to do and they would agree to it?
Yeah,
Like,
but
even if
again,
they were both girls, this feels weird. And
yeah,
like Matsuri's like just like into it.
yeah,
It just,
and again, I've got to ask, how is this any different?
yeah, if anything, you think it's worse
Yeah,
because Suzu is just like, I mean, she has like a O face and everything.
yeah, she literally does. So yeah, we we have Suzu describing it, describing the experience of it being too tense last time, but Matsui's been massaging his grandfather's shoulders every day, so he's top notch at it. And Shigeru saying, "Evil schemer getting lost in her own scheme." Eh?
Yep,
This is the
which
actual.
is true.
Yeah, this is actually a case of a shameless medium getting lost in her own shamelessness.
Yeah, and then Shadow May is pretty happy because like now the two girls have been pushed out of commission, so no one's in the way of her plans,
Yeah, her
evil
plans.
plans.
Yeah,
And then they, oh, good.
which don't make any sense whatsoever if you really
No, it
think
does
about
not.
it.
Really doesn't, but it's okay.
Yeah,
So then Kuru and Matsuri meet up on the roof because of course they do.
yeah.
That's just
Every
another normal thing in Japan.
yeah. Every single anime, the action always happens on the roof for some reason.
I swear I've never been on the roof of any school building I've ever been in.
The only roof that I've ever been on in my life is the roof of my grandmother's house, and that was to
Yeah,
clean out that was to clean out the gutter.
that makes sense too. Like I definitely helped clean out gutters before, but this is just ridiculous. People should not have access to the roof like this.
Like
Japan is weird.
also, oh, uh, and I guess you could count like the balcony area at the top of a house at some
A
point. But aside,
balcony would almost make more sense though.
yeah, but aside from that, like, why does every high school in Japan just have this like perfectly square shaped roof as well?
It's very true. But anyway, so Shadow May was hoping that what I like about this chapter in a weird way is that girl Matsuri is actually very forward because like male Matsuri just does not take any initiative at all when it
Oh
comes to
no.
relationship. But female Matsuri just straight up finds Soga. It's like, hey, you want to go out with me? And I'm just like, where was this? Where was this? This whole
I, re-
series, Matsuri.
I reckon this is gonna come back at some point. Like they're gonna be um, this will probably like play into Shadowmay's plan and being like, hey, you know, when you were like full on girl, you were kind of forward and you weren't holding back. So yeah, and Shoga actually did confess that he would go out with you. Like she'll probably just say that lie just to wind him up.
I don't know. It's hard to say how much he remembers of what happened here, but
But yeah,
it's I did like the response because honestly, I was wondering how Ahsoka was going to respond to it, and also I love how excited Shadow May is. She's like a shipper reading a manga. It's like, yes, my OTPs just got together.
yeah, and then she goes on, and then she discovers Twitter and it's like, I can't believe they interrupted my beautifully evil plan. Oh wait, I shouldn't say evil plan.
Yep. And then Soga's not impressed at all. I kind of do like that. How for him, this isn't the way Matsuri is. This isn't the Matsuri he respects. So in that way, he's just like, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not going along with this.
Yeah, this is clearly not Matsuri, and we have Ponosuke using using a bean to destroy that is used to destroy evil, and they are sacred food known since ancient times to have the power to exercise evil. And and Shoga is basically like, even it, even if it doesn't just lift the jutsu, it just needs to awaken Kazumagi's heart for a moment. And basically, the power of Inner Storm, which can be taken in so many ways based on that image alone.
Mhm. Although I do like the callback because like that technique that Matsuri learned for Inner Storm actually came into play. I was wondering how it would, and now we get to kind of see it. So
Yeah,
they can dispel um, magic or jutsus that have been imposed upon them by using it. So that's kind of cool.
yeah, that is kind of cool. But just that panel that can be taken in so many different ways.
Yep. Also true. Out of context,
Yeah.
it's just kind of hilarious.
So then we have Rio and Suzu coming back in and being like, "Oh yeah, you're back. Yeah, yeah. It feels like I've had a real dream." And Shoga saying, "Oh, that's happened because you let your guard down. You let your guard down. But yeah." So he thanks Shogo, and Shogo basically being what Bakugo is in everyone's fan fiction
Yep.
to Deku at this point. Like,
Also, yep.
and Rio basically commenting like, "Oh, you're blushing, Shogo, so you prefer him this way," and like, "Yeah, don't tease me." And they're like, "Oh, of course, we're forever rivals after all." And yeah, Shogo getting completely embarrassed by this before Shotomei comes in and says, "Those two actually make a cute couple," and Suzu is like getting super jealous there.
Yeah, which is understandable, but also kind of funny.
Yeah. Which I've just thought about something funny. We've had this happen with Matsuri. Now it has to happen with Suzu, where she loses her memory or something, and she actually has the hots for Shadow May.
Yep.
That would
But
be hilarious.
I think this arc was a whole. I'm glad it didn't take too long, but
Yeah,
it was a
two
fun
chap.
little side distraction.
Yeah, fun little side distraction, two chapters, and I feel at this point we need to get back into like um bringing in Lucy and Yayu more into the story. Like that still needs to be a plot point that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really does because
uh,
that's what we really want to see.
yeah. Yeah, no more messages from Sky said at the moment, so I
Well, yeah,
guess
but I don't know if you read Ayakashi all that much. So
I
could
don't
be.
think you read. Sky said, do you read Ayakashi Triangle? So so just reply if you, and we'll get rid of the bots. Like,
Okay,
why do I get the
so
feeling these bots are Shadow Maze bots coming in?
so I think that was it for Ayakashi.
Yeah,
You what should we move on to next? We have Witch Watch and Yozakura.
and Dr. Stone, like we obviously
Well,
said.
yeah, we always save that for the end.
I guess we should just go in the order we've got here because we've got Ayakashi, Witch Watch, Michinosuke, and Dr. Stone. So I guess we should
Okay,
just go in
let's go in
order.
that order.
Yeah,
So next is Witch Watch. Okay, so oh
yeah,
boy.
not yet. Yeah. Oh boy, you're in for a wild ride when you do decide to pick it up, and I mean that both figuratively and literally.
And also there's the anime coming out, so if you're just waiting for that, I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, which watch? So yeah, the return of everyone's favorite ship, the manga student, and the manga teacher.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a ship, but yeah, they're a fun pairing. Although I will say I just watched a little bit of Shonen and Chill before this stream, and they are really not a fan of these duos. 'Cause
Why?
their whole section for this chapter was like 2 minutes. It was funny. Um, but oh, Skyzet, I'm assuming you're reading. You're talking about Akashi when you said 30 to 40 chapters. Cool. Yep. There's a lot more story later on, and then also a lot more gag. So in a weird way, it kind of just it overall improves itself over time. Akashi.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, with Witch Watch, yeah. When I saw the manga student, I was like, this is gonna be another rest in peace translator chapter.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is, and it was at a particular point. So yeah, we have basically uh um oh Kumi. I guess that's how you pronounce the name.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we have Kumi basically going through writer's block.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
uh,
she basically was following up from last time when the teacher told her, hey, try drawing your own manga.
yeah,
But she couldn't come up with something, so she's down in the dumps. And then we get to a cafe scene with her and the teacher, but weirdly, it's told from the perspective of a random chemistry teacher we've never met before.
yeah. Well, in a way, I like the fact that they're like, okay, yeah, we've got this school in this series, and we only have one teacher as part of like the cast. So we might have to get. So we probably need to get some more teachers being introduced.
That is a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So
So
and
then,
also maybe it's because the author kind of thought like, yeah, this is kind of a bit of a weird thing that that these two are a pair of teacher and student. So so basically, before it gets even more suspicious, I might as well introduce a male love interest for the teacher.
uh, yeah, that is, I do like that aspect of it. Um, so then we kind of also get like an outsider's perspective with
Yeah,
like conversations about manga, which is kind of like I think the interesting takeaway from this chapter. Because like you and me, we talk about manga all the time. We talk to other people who talk about manga, but
yeah.
outside of our circle, manga sounds super weird.
Yeah, manga does sound super weird. Like it's I would honestly say to anybody who hasn't read it yet, start off with the bare basics. So like I would say the ones that I would recommend the most are Doctor Stone, Fullmetal Alchemist, Death Note, and Pokemon, and oh, there was another. There was and Monster. Well, not Monster, no, because that's a bit of a mind screw. Um,
Yeah,
but and maybe Bleach. I would say those ones to kind of like ease people into manga before diving more into the rabbit hole that is like that is like the wide spectrum of manga.
yeah, I'd say that's a good list.
Yeah,
Um,
because
and
then
then continue.
yeah,
Oh,
because I'd pick those series because they're not too weird, and they have good stories as well. Well,
yeah,
Ble-
those are good
well,
picks.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have we have the student and the teacher meeting up, and this chemistry teacher saying like, oh yeah, that's one of our first year students. This is an unusual spot for them meeting. Yeah, it'll make things awkward if they spy me. No, it wouldn't. Like, I hate it when people are like that. Like, just go up and say like, "Oh, hey, what are you two doing here?" And they could just say like, "Oh, she wants to be a writer, and I'm just giving her some tips."
I
Problem
don't know
solved.
if I agree with that because it's just like in this situation, this is obviously a private meeting, and I think he just doesn't want them to be like, "Oh, I saw you guys here, but I kind of don't want to be drawn into this conversation."
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough, but at the same time, he's making it more awkward for himself when he could just be like, just be there, like, oh hey, I've spotted them. Best not interrupt them, and just continues on with his information, with his own thing that he's going on here, not trying to make it more awkward by thinking like, yeah, I want to find out what they're getting, what they're talking about.
I mean, I think I can understand more because I kind of react like this when I see people I know in public but don't feel like talking to.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I can get it. Fair enough. I get that. I get that. Um,
So then they kind of show us that Miss Makua, I think
Ma,
I'm saying that right.
Makuma.
Oh,
Like,
that's an M. No, that's a W.
oh, yeah, that is a W. Makua. Yeah,
Yeah, Makua.
yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Makua, like they kind of show us that like the staff really like her, think she's very attractive. She kind of plays off the cool, aloof character when she's a whole mess inside. That's a fun trope. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the trope that she fills in for
Yeah.
us in the series.
And then we have
And
and then we have yeah, trying to say it in a way where I don't ramble on too much because of what you said before the stream. Like, yeah, dialogue heavy chapter.
Yeah, so basically, oh wait, what'd you say the student's name was again? Yumi?
Kumi.
Kumi.
I'm going with Kumi because it says Kakumi, but I'm going with Kumi because it just makes
Fair
it
enough.
easier to say.
Yeah, so Kumi is basically saying, sorry, I couldn't do it. And then the teacher's like, no, don't be sorry. I shouldn't have pushed you so much. You should have figured this out in your own pace. It wasn't my bad to push you that hard. And the chemistry teacher's like, oh, they're probably talking about some kind of class activities.
Yeah.
And then he's like reminiscing about his time as a teenager, because that's why all these high school manga are popular. Everyone reminisces about the time they were so
Yeah.
passionate in high school, because apparently in Japan, everyone loses their passion after high school.
I know, and it's like, what, why would that even happen?
I don't know. Japan sounds depressing the more you think about
Yeah.
it.
Um, and then we have Kumi saying like, I appreciate the advice. Thank you for helping me realize it, and it opened my eyes and everything. But I just don't have that. I just have that imagination. I like taking a character's charisma and inner angst and inner angst that their moness and emo-ness and creating art out of it sufficient. So basically saying, basically boiling it down to like she's more of a visual mangaka rather than like a writing one, which is basically what Miss Ma- Mako Mako Maku
Cool.
Makuwa. That just sounds like like a folk dance like Makawa 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 wah wah.
It does actually. But yeah, Miss Makawas basically suggests that okay, you're more visual than you are story based. So that's why you can't come up with a script. So then how about you go consult a script writer? And of course, somehow the chemistry teacher, because he's a chemistry teacher, is like, well, hang on, they're talking about scripts. Is this a drug prescription?
I know.
Because that's
I was
of course
like,
how a chemist
really?
would think.
That's the first thing that that's the first thing that comes to it. That's the first thing that comes to his mind. But yeah, Miss Marquis continues and says the important thing is that you have an idea that you want to express to the world. Focus solely on the art side seems like it would work perfectly for you. And there could have been that. Honestly, could have been like a nod to Dr. Stone here. It's like, why don't you go
Yeah,
and
I
read
know. I
Dr.
was thinking the
Stone?
same.
Yeah, why don't you go and look at Dr. Stone's art? And I've heard Boichi's got his own YouTube page now.
Oh my god, if Shinohara like actually just advertised Boichi's like YouTube in the manga, I would be so impressed. I'd
I
be
would
like,
be,
yeah, that's looking out for each other.
yeah, yeah, um,
But anyway, our artist Kumi is very excited about that idea, and yeah, it makes sense if she's very into the art side of things. It makes sense that she would need some help
yeah,
with the story side. Except the funny thing is, what she didn't see coming is that she was going to ask the teacher for help with writing,
yeah,
because
and
how they originally met was, of course, all her fanfic stories
I
online.
know that were like no, that were like novelizations, and of course, when she asks her about this, she's like, "What? I can't do it. You want me to write the story?" And yet she brings up the fan fictions, and the chemistry teacher is like basically questioning what Dengeki Mellow actually means.
Yep. Because these are all very strange words and don't make any sense.
Yeah,
But yeah, basically the teacher is like, "No, I can't write. I'm just an otaku who enjoys reading. I don't have that creative drive." But then Kumi points out, "But you did do it once. That means you do have a desire to read." And then Kumi keeps complimenting her
yeah.
until eventually she wins her over.
Yeah, and
I
I
love
like
these.
that. I like that. I like that about the shops. Basically, the message taken away of like, if you feel like you can do it, just do it. Don't put up barriers.
Yep. I can see where the teacher's coming from. It's always hard to like get started. But
Yeah,
then, you just got to get started.
yeah. You just got like like with me to like me for example, when I started out writing, I was like, oh my, can I do this? But then I like pushed myself like, no, I really want to tell this story and not look back since.
Yep. So, this was probably a pretty relatable chapter for you.
Yeah, this really was real chats because I've been through these moments as well where I've just had writer's block as well, so I
Yeah,
can relate a lot to
writer's
this
block
chapter.
sucks.
Yeah. Um.
Uh,
So
Continuing
then,
onward, like basically eventually Kumi wins the mangaka over because like she really does want to see like her work brought up to life in like a real manga. So
Yeah.
that idea is exciting for her. Problem is like, and then of course the teacher realizes, okay, I definitely have a crush on this lead.
Yes. Yeah. But again, but which probably will lead to like a crazy love triangle between the chemistry teacher, Miss Makiwa, and Kumi. But here's the thing. When I say love triangle, I with Makua and Kumi, I would honestly see it more at this point as like a mother and daughter love.
Okay, because I was gonna say that's kind of
Yeah,
suspicious
yeah,
to
but
have
then,
them.
but then, but then, you know how the teacher has been suspicious about things all throughout this chapter. He'll probably be thinking like, "Oh no, yeah, Miss Makura has a crush on the student. What do I do?" And he'll get the wrong end of the stick and be like, "No, no, 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 no. We just love each other as teacher and student, and as like sort of like manga buddies."
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't mind that for a comedy chapter, but I'd also would just like it if Kumi was just like uh, encouraging Makua to pursue a relationship because I think we can talk more about that near the end. I think that's
Yeah,
important near the end.
yeah.
But
So
anyway,
then,
Makua runs into her own writer's
old rice
block.
block
Yeah,
by
and
by
it's like
saying
even worse somehow.
yeah, because she says since when has manga been that hard? Yeah, yeah, and I can kind of see where she's coming from here because because you have people who are like this is probably the chapter that's that line where she says, "No, really, since when has manga been this hard? I've read over 1,000 volumes a year and I'm getting nowhere. I haven't even written the first word of the first scene. I am completely clueless." This is basically that could basically be the meme to everyone who's like every like troll on the internet is like, "Oh, I could write My Hero Academia better." You just put that panel in the response.
Yep. I mean, it really is kind of true. It's a lot easier to read manga than write it. And
Yeah,
yes, guys, I did say that 1,000 volumes a year. I don't. I feel like that's probably a little exaggeration for
that
comedic
that's
effect.
that's an exaggeration because she's a super hard otaku.
Yeah,
Like
because
li-
1,000 volumes. Think about that.
literally, her introduction, she was basically comparing Moe to Gon Freaks.
Yep.
Yeah,
So let's see. Moving onward, she wants to write a story about those two characters. Um,
yeah, but
from a different series, and
uh,
then in comes the chemistry teacher out of nowhere, where he basically tells her, "It's like, yeah, I kind of overheard this conversation."
yeah, yeah, and she's basically getting really embarrassed about it and saying like, "Oh," and say like, "Oh, you overheard everything then?" And he's like, "Oh no, really, only bits and pieces I heard. I heard the characters' names." And then and then he says to her, "Oh, you're a fan of that manga?" And yeah, it's a fun manga. And this is where she gets the panel of like, "Oh, I've actually found someone. I found the one."
Yeah, she found someone to talk to her own age about manga, and I'm really happy for her in that
Yeah.
sense. And Sky said I could make Guardian of the Witch or Red Hood better than they were. I mean, bold statement there, man, but
Old
good
statement,
luck to
man.
you.
But like we said, it's one thing to say that, but then to actually sit down and actually think of the world, the characters, where everything's going to go, and everything, and then actually have the will to act on it. Yeah, it's you have to like really get yourself stuck in there, and also as well lose sleep over
Yeah.
it.
But I'm not saying you couldn't. I do think Guardian of the Witch and Red Hood both had like a fair amount of potential, but their execution was
Yeah,
kind of where it was lacking. A lot of thought was put into those series and the world when you really read those series. But yeah, that's a story for a different day.
yeah,
Anyway, right
and then
now, like we,
yeah,
I was
I
gonna
was
go
just
back to the chapter. Did you gonna say something?
Yeah, yeah, I was going to get back to the chapter as well. I was going to say, like, then we have Miss Makura remembering what Kumi said to her, like, there's no reason to be embarrassed about liking manga, and we have them basically starting the conversation up, but but she's too embarrassed to actually say what actual thoughts are. So when We have the chemistry teacher talking about it. Talking about it by
And
saying,
yet, so then she's trying to have a conversation, and
yeah,
she basically quickly learns that the chemistry teacher, wait, what was his name? Uh,
it,
I'll, have to, I'll look it up
um,
again. Hang on,
Ta-
because obviously
Tadahiro Mi-
Miyoshi.
Miyoshi.
Okay, I'm
So,
gonna go with Miyoshi.
Mr. Miyoshi.
Yep. So for Miyoshi Sensei, like basically, she finds out that Miyoshi Sensei is a very casual shonen fan, just
Yeah.
kind of there for the action, can't really follow the plot or remember character
Oh,
names.
so you know what would have been a perfect line to say here? Oh my God, he's an action tard.
Obviously, that's probably not an actual term in Japan. It's probably just something we have over here in the West. But
Well, it's
yeah,
being
basically.
it's being translated, so I guess they could have put in that little jab in.
Oh, okay, that is a good point.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, he effectively is. But at the same time, I think they're also trying to, in this chapter, acknowledge that casual fans are still manga fans. They
yeah,
just
yeah,
don't think too much about it.
yeah. They just don't think too much about. They just don't get into it as much as other people get into it.
Yeah, which well, we'll talk a little more when we get to certain panels. But basically, I did like his one line where it's like, "You can switch your brain off and have fun with it." And then she's like, "Wait, do you know there's huge forums out there, people talking about theories and stuff?" And I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is
Oh my,
basically us with
yeah.
like
This is
Doctor Stone and
this is
everything."
us gonna be with Doctor Stone in a bit.
Yep, because I know there's gonna be people out there like, "Oh my God, Senku, he's doing science and space stuff," and then we're like, "But guys, there's so much intricate details."
Yeah, yeah, and then we can make the argument of like where we'll just say, "Oh, hey, they scored a goal. They scored a goal on that soccer and football match." But then they would be like, "Actually, if we look at it from this angle, they could have got it. They could have saved it at this point. Maybe got them to take a corner at that point, and they'll just be doing the same thing that we'll be doing, but with sports."
Yeah, probably. I really don't get sports.
I
But yeah,
really
then they
don't.
kind of talk about some of the random characters in the series, and yeah, like I said, don't remember their names and has a very basic interpretation of these characters.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I do like that Marikua. Marikua, I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong. She's like doesn't want to like act like an elitist, so she doesn't like push her opinions on him, even
yeah.
though she really, really wants to. As soon as he insults like his favorite characters.
Yeah. So saying like, if I'm being honest, I couldn't tell if Usuri and Ubaru are supposed to be friends or not either, and that's probably what people were probably thinking about with Stanley and Zeno in Doctor Stone. We can't tell if these guys are supposed to be friends or something completely different.
I mean, I was actually thinking of Seraph at the end with that, but that Stanley's, also a good example.
Yeah. Um and then and I love the fact that the more she keeps going on about it, the more it's just like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, because even the mangaka's like, okay, look, I put some thought into this random story I made up, but not that much.
Yeah, not that much. Not that. Oh my god, I could just imagine if the author wrote Bakuman, he would have a field day with that.
Probably. It would probably be a fun story. But I think what I do like about this moment here is that meeting a casual fan kind of like encouraged her to want to like write a story that's more approachable and in depth for like casual fans to be able to understand characters. And
Yeah,
I kind of understand that because I think how like I haven't written a novel like you, Luke, but like some of the short stories I have written really came down to the way I've seen some people interpret science fiction and my own interpretations, and I kind of wanted to like almost put my voice out there in that sense.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I kind of do like this moment here, like that
yeah,
I need to write like the next page with a little fire, creative spark.
yeah. And again, I kind of wrote some stuff very casually as well. Like in my story, like the descriptions of the characters are just like the bare basics, and that was basically meant to be done. So like, it doesn't matter what gender what skin color they are, where they're from, and everything. They could just be like just the average Joe Schmo, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, so yeah, we have Miss Makawa saying that I need to write this, and then we have Kumi getting the message from her by saying like, oh, and basically Makawa saying it's only a little read, but I tried to write some of a manga script, and when she opens it, we get that classic panel of like, give the translator, give the translator a raise,
Yep, a huge raise
a
indeed.
huge raise.
I didn't even bother trying to read any of
I
it.
because it's too small as well. Like
It really is.
I've got 2020 vision, and even I can't read some of this stuff unless you get really up close.
Yep. So basically, she finds out she got a Party Gems copyright
Yeah,
comment, and so
you
then
should
she's like,
no
"Okay, well, oh, good."
you should make that a thing every time there's a chapter with these two characters. Like, get the panel and just be like, Pie Jam's copyright here.
This is one of my comments. But yeah, basically, it was a lot of work, and Kumi's super excited to draw about it.
Yeah,
Um, and then after that, Miss Miyoshi kind of gets some time to really think about. Oh man, I'm glad I got that opportunity to talk with him. It inspired me to write. Maybe we should go out on a date, but then she gets nervous. So I think Kumi's going to kind of push those two into a relationship more than a
yeah.
love triangle, just because I think that would be cute.
Yeah, I could see that as well. And again, like I said, when I say love triangle, I mean more like Kumi and Makura are more like platonic love, but he'll probably take it the completely opposite way.
I mean, it would be funny, but I would kind of just rather have just skip that point and just get to the dating. But that's
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Um, oh my god! Unless Kumi actually goes with her on the date with him, and she's like, and Makura's like, "What do I do here?" Yeah, and
But yeah, then Nico has her own finds out the catchphrase of the series is "Let's kind of keep at it."
yeah.
And I just wanted to bring up because I don't think you read Australia Lost in Space just yet.
No, I
But one of
haven't.
the recurring gags in that series is that the main character will toss out these inspirational quotes, but the inspirational quotes are kind of like these half-hearted inspirational quotes. Like, if we keep trying our best, then some of the things we've tried will work themselves out, or something like that. I forgot the quote. I'll have to look it up. I know I took a
Okay,
picture before.
all right.
Like, I think that was honestly like a reference towards Astro Lost in Space, because there's a lot of quotes that are very similar to that in concept.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
see.
So then we have
Oh,
all
here, I
the.
found it. I knew I saved it. As long as
Uh,
everyone works together and does whatever they can, most hurdles can probably be overcome.
I guess that yeah, I can see that being inspirational because it's
Yeah.
basically go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's just like one example and one of my favorites. But there's a lot of those like that where he would just give out this advice and this half-hearted inspirational quotes, but then the
Okay,
characters use it for actual inspiration. So I kind of
okay,
like that touch.
yeah. And then we get Keigo bringing in not Shonen Jump, Shoten Jaguar. Yeah, and I guess this chap. I don't know. Is this meant to like? Um. Oh no, it's. Is this meant to imply that they have that they got the chapter into the magazine?
I was thinking about that, but no, I think that like the Shonen Jaguar, I think is like the Shonen Jump, or not the Shonen Jump, but a Shonen Jump competitor in their world.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah,
there's a
yeah.
official series called Uran Mirage, and the character and Makur Markua,
Makakawa.
whatever,
Yeah.
Marakawa. Yeah, Marakawa, like she used those characters as like inserts for like a script to inspire Kumi, but I don't think those are the actual characters she's going to use.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's established that Shonen Jump does exist in this series.
Yeah, I was about to say this is the equivalent, but then I remember no, because they reference Hunter x Hunter
And
directly, which means
yeah,
they
yeah,
read Jump.
and they've referenced Yu-Gi-Oh as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Shonen Jump exists. This is
yeah,
just a competitor magazine or one of their subsidiary magazines, like weekly, like
yeah.
the monthly
Uh,
Jump series. It could be
next,
like that.
yeah, and next issue will be a full chapter of Uro. So basically, this is probably the all. This is the author spelling out like, yeah. Next issue is going to be a chapter about this fictional series.
Yep. Which I mean, honestly, I'm interested because he's putting a lot of like. This is like a weirdly huge subplot for this series. I feel like
I
it's
know.
gonna be important. I don't know how or why, but it's gonna be
Maybe
important.
maybe I'll have references to upcoming events in the series, kind of
Like foreshadowing.
like foreshadowing, kind of like what happened with that series in Undead Unluck.
Hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
That would be pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. So I guess we gotta look forward to a manga within a manga next week with
Yep.
Witch Watch.
Of course, then it's. I feel like this is going to be in a Gravity Boy situation where I'm going to want that manga released, but they're never going to do it.
No, they're never gonna do it. Like,
I feel
but
like
yeah,
if Witch Watch gets successful, they should do this series. Unless do we prove that this was based off something? The Urun Mirage. I think
uh,
last time we talked about it, you said it was inspired by something.
I can't remember what it was.
Okay, well, if it provided it's not like kind of spin off or slightly copying another series, then they should do it. Otherwise, they shouldn't. Obviously.
Yeah, yeah, but
So
yeah.
yeah, I think that was Witch Watch.
Yeah, that was Witch Watch, and pretty pretty solid chapter. Focusing on two characters that we haven't seen in a while, and maybe hopefully after the next chapter, getting back into um, the main meat of the story. So yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess now we can move on to Mission Yotsuko Family.
Yep.
So we get it up. So, Mission Yotsuko Family, basically the film watching chapter.
Yep. We're still not anywhere close to a story, but it's fine.
Yeah, I feel like this. I feel like we'll get to the point. We'll get to the points in the chapter, but I feel like after this chapter, we are going to get back into getting back into the main story.
Oh, well, let's find out. I feel like this would be a good point to get back in. Like I said, I like these bonding chapters, but at some point you got to get back to the plot.
Yeah. Well, now we've got the whole family here, so it's kind of. I feel like that's kind of saying like, yeah, we're getting back into some bonding. And somebody actually sent a comment at some point. Like, I think it was on Twitter or somewhere, where after this chapter, it feels like something's going to happen to Mutsumi that's going to traumatize Tayo again.
I mean, I think at this point we're just expecting somebody to die. Last time we were talking about Kyutaro.
Yeah.
This,
Um,
so yeah, I don't
so
know.
yeah, we start off with them watching a horror film, which, as we know, despite Futaba being the second oldest, she is probably the biggest crybaby ever when it comes to scary stuff. So
Yep.
I love the fact that she's like that she has one of those masks where you think it's like, oh, she's looking, but it's like covering her eyes.
Yeah, it's cute.
And the cutest bit is just I getting excited, like I want to see it, and then Matsu is like, no, you're not seeing it. Like the mother saying to the child, like, no, we're not letting you see this.
Yep. But it's nice to see everyone's like taste in movies.
Yeah,
Although I feel like the author's really kind of like pushing it where it's like, oh, we need to de-stress, so let's watch movies. I don't know.
yeah,
I feel like everything else kind of fit. Like there was a weird connection back to the main story with maybe like one or two exceptions, but this one just like, oh, we're watching movies because
yeah.
we're really stressed right now.
Yeah, which okay, fine. If it's only this one chapter, fine, whatever. But yeah, I love at the bottom of page 2 we have all these movies, and then you have an obvious nod to Jaws, but you have it called Jozu.
Yep. I mean, I guess Japan does have some copyright stuff to be worried about.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, overcoming difficult situations is what makes a good spy, and that's why we're holding a Yotsukura Film Festival. And basically, Shinzo. So we know that Shion's favorite type of film is horror films.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which that's cool.
and her going like those bursting entrails, the blood spraying everywhere. That was awesome. And then Fruta being like, "Can we just watch a film about cute little puppies and everything and sunshine and rainbows?"
Yeah, I did think it was cute the way Shion, like the eldest sister, is reaching out to her little brother, like, Shinjo, please help me.
Yeah,
So
and then
adorable.
we have the movie Meow Meow Story 3, the Great Paul, the Great Paul War.
Yep.
Like what kind of
And it's like, wait, why wouldn't you like real war movies? Shinzo, you're a weapon expert. It's like, yeah, those aren't really realistic.
yeah, yeah, as opposed to a movie about a cat saving a country from the catnip monster with a cat with a cigar in its mouth.
Yeah. So I don't really know what the difference is, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, he thinks that war movies are well, he's not against them. It's just the CGI explosions and gunfights are obviously fake. So he lives for the truth, and I love the fact that he's just like he's probably just there, like going like, "Oh, this is unrealistic" with all his guns around him.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which I mean, I also kind of get like if you're in a field and you see entertainment based on the field, it's when they don't do it accurately, it kind of just like you can't enjoy it as much.
yeah. It's kind it kind of reminds me of have you ever seen the film Hot Fuzz?
I have not.
Okay, okay, it's a buddy cop film, but one thing that was praised in that film was the by the police was how much attention that was brought to the most mundane of things, which was the paperwork. So
Ah,
it kind of reminded me of that what you said then.
okay, it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Anyway, then Futaba picks her movie, which is just like this old school movie made like 50 years ago about someone dying and talking with their wife or something. And I don't know, it was just kind of like a super like old school Japanese movie. I guess that's just the kind of thing they had in Japan
yeah.
back in the
Because
day.
she really doesn't get recent celebrities or actors from overseas. So so I ended up picking. I get what does she mean by that?
Ended up picking classic Japanese movies.
Yeah,
Like
no,
she
no, I
basically is
don't really get recent celebrities or actors from overseas. Like, what does she mean by that?
basically she means that she's not a huge fan of like the whatever the current popular movies are because they aren't a really big deal for her. Like when you see in the news like oh so and so celebrity did this and that and they're now going to be in upcoming stuff. She doesn't really care about all that. So
Okay,
it's like
fair enough.
she's really into the old school movies, which as Kengo said kind of makes her sound like an old lady.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
and
like
of
things were
course,
better back in the old days.
because of that, he ends up getting a bop on the head.
Yep.
Uh,
And then he
and
ended up picking a movie that they definitely shouldn't show eye. They
yeah,
definitely should
yeah,
not show eye.
because again, I love that. Like, I was like, I want to see it. I want to see it. And Tyler's like, you are not seeing it. Which you
No.
think at that point you'd be like, okay, you go into bed now. and um and I love this line from Keigo. What the heck? This is censorship. What about freedom of expression? That's pretty much the Ayakoshi fan base for chapters 74 and 75.
Yeah. Except in this case, he was in the wrong. There was a child there. And also,
Yeah,
this is your family. That's a really creepy thing to watch with your family.
yeah. And then we have Tayo giving his pick, which is about a married couple who are slowly dying because of toxic air over the village. So basically, doing a kind of feature length version of Miriam and Komogi's situation in Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, I mean, that it's like a very dark choice. And then he was like, yeah, I watched this when I was a kid and it stuck with me. And everyone's like, oh my God, Ty, you were traumatized. And then
Yeah,
he goes like, yeah, but it's comforting because my own family was also dead.
yeah,
My
and
God.
oh my god, that is super dark.
I know. Like
Like
I'm glad they brought it up because they haven't talked about Ty's family in a while.
I
But
know,
man, my boy is traumatized.
like that boy has some serious. that boy needs some therapy bad, like especially dealing with Koichiro as well. That boy needs some therapy.
Yep. And then I like how all the rest of the recommendations were just like to try to get Tayu out of his trauma.
Yeah, and which eyes was a wolf tale about about a family of wolves on a big adventure, but the wolves often complain about the director because she couldn't understand wolf.
So I think here's my understanding of that. So that's basically like a nature documentary, right? But I actually understand what the wolves are saying. So for her, she thinks it's like an actual movie.
Oh right, oh okay, that makes more sense.
Because at first I was like, wait, why were they just filming wolves? But now I'm like, oh, okay, it was a nature documentary. But she understands it, so she thinks they're like actors.
Oh
But then
okay,
the
that
wolves are
makes
like, oh my god, what is this? Why are these humans here?
yeah. And then we have Nanano's one being a medical drama, which would makes the most sense for him.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think I would honestly go with his pick of all the movies, just because he says apparently it's a super scientifically accurate medical drama. That would be my kind of thing.
yeah, and Goliath's one is just a history documentary.
Yep. Which I mean, I don't know what to make of that, to be
I
honest with
didn't
you.
like. Why would Goliath? What would Goliath see in that?
I don't know. He's a dog.
Wait, footage of the 21st century. You are in the 21st century, Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or unless this is in the future, but I don't think so.
no. Um, and then we have what them asking about what Creature thinks, and them say I have no recommendations for him. No, his would probably be something like oh, what would his recommendation be? Like probably some like a brother who loved his sister so much that that he ended up dying because of her because of his love for her.
I don't know. As far as I know, he could just start recommending snuff films.
Oh my
That would
god.
be pretty extra dark. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
that
after
is too
everyone
bad we don't get much from him.
yeah, but maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, then Mutsumi, her pick was musicals, which
Which makes
I'm like,
sense.
yeah, that checks out.
That checks out. Because it's nice when the music lyrics bring a bit of sparkle to romance, hard work, friendship, and everyday life. So much that she automatically wants to sing, and yet we all know how bad of a singer she is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But then Tayu's like actually brings up what we're all thinking. Is like, hey, is it okay to be doing this? Isn't there a story going on? And
Yeah.
then Mutsumi's like, yeah, no, it's fine. And then I do like the picture where she's tickling him with her feet.
Oh yeah,
Just so
definitely.
cartoony and fun.
That's so cartoony and fun, but such a wholesome moment that they can get away with.
Yeah. And also I kind of like that idea of we're protecting to the reason we're fighting is to have these enjoyable moments. I mean, it's not the first series to say that. I've seen like Soul Eaters talk about that, Naruto
Yeah.
talk about that, but it's a nice theme all the
Yeah,
same.
and I love this moment where she actually compares themselves to the couple in the film that Tayo said like yeah they ended up dying and probably had no idea what was happening and it was a sad story but they continued living their lives to the fullest and they eventually did accept their fate because that's pretty much what everyone's going to go through at some point so you just gotta you know you're gonna die, but at this point, you just gotta live your life to the fullest, and it's your way of fighting on against that inevitable fate.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe this is why people are thinking Mutsumi something bad's going to happen to her,
Yeah,
because the couples they could be paralleling them, of course, because this chapter seems to, at least by the end, dedicate itself to like solidifying their relationship.
yeah, and again, the end of this chapter probably solidifies something else about the series, where we get them saying the only difference is this movie had a sad ending, but we'll have a happy ending. I know it. Once we put to rest everything going on, that's when our story will really begin. The story of me and you, Tayo. So I think this is pretty much all for just subtly winking at like, yeah, even after this whole situation with Momo and everyone's taken care of, there's still going to be story to be told.
Yep.
Yeah, and
There, I did like how the siblings were all like pretending to be asleep, except for I, who was actually asleep.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah, and the story of Mia Musume. Let's make it a good story. Like, oh my, again, those panels, man, they just like he knows how to hit you in the feels.
At this point, I think he's just going to keep doing this for all the non plot related chapters. He's going to be
Non-plot
like,
related
one
stuff.
chapter, I'm just going to go extra hard for no reason.
Yeah. And then and of course, Kojo's trying to be like, I need to get Tayo for this. And yeah, if you get between them, I'll beat you to a pulp. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And we end up the chapter with Mutsumi saying maybe it's a bad idea to get too absorbed in gloom music. After all, this is my favorite, the sound of music, not the song of music, the sound of music. Let's
yeah.
watch it and
Honestly,
sing.
if you paid attention to like all the like the little things, everything's a parody of a movie.
Yeah,
So
let's watch and sing along. And then everyone's like freaking out because they know, like, yeah, don't sing Musume, but of course she sings. And of course, everyone except Koicho fell asleep, fainted. Yeah. So overall pretty fun chapter. But again, at this point, I feel like we really need to get back into at least finding out what the next head of the Yosako is going to look like.
yeah, I mean, you did say that like by the end of this, you think this is going to be where they have to transition back into plot,
Yeah.
but I don't really know. I'm not completely convinced one way or the other.
Huh.
Just
Um,
because it's like they've been doing this for this long, so they could just as easily do another sibling pair next time.
could do. Or oh, you know who they could do actually?
What?
Um, Ayaki, the maid, and Shinso again. But and a twist on that, they bring Ai as well, so we have them free for the next chapter.
I mean, sure,
Yeah,
I could see it. At least
like
a Shinzo chapter is possible because I don't think we've had one dedicated to him yet.
yeah, like he's just like he just Tayu and Mutsumi are like doing something and I wants to play with them, but they are too busy. So she's like, "Oh, I'll look after her," and then Aiki's like, "Oh, let me join in. Let's go out for a fun family time." And then Shinso's like, they're really awkward. They're like, "Why did I drag myself into this?"
Yep. So I guess I'm kind of like I said, I'm okay with more sibling bonding chapters. So if we get another one of those, I'm fine. But at the same time, we should probably get plots soonish.
Yeah, I'd say because we're on chapter 115 at the moment, so I'd say maybe 118. Like if we want to do like three more, uh, or two more sibling chapters, 118 might be a perfect point to get back into some more plot.
Yep.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
but yeah, so yeah, that was Mission Yotsuko from me. Unless you had anything else to say on it.
Nope, I'm good.
Uh, okay, so now we can get into the grand finale, Doctor Stone.
Yep. This is the big one.
This is the big one, um, and um, and I've already sent my theory about what the Y Man is, what the Y Man is to Shonen OG. But we'll get into it when we get into the end.
Okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, because there's a lot of other stuff even before we get there, even though the
Yeah,
end is like the big thing.
the big thing. So, I guess next chapter or possibly a chapter after that, we'll finally figure out what Y Man actually is at this point. But yeah, gotta start off with the color page. Really awesome. Really awesome. Like really went out of his way in this color page. Probably one of the best he's ever done.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I would agree.
yeah.
It's
So
just like a really solid color page for where we
yeah,
are.
yeah, and also just like the shine of the moon shining on their helmets, and of course Stanley being Stanley. Even in the helmet, he still has to have a cigarette.
Yeah, but of course he's using the chewable tobacco that Zeno
Yeah,
sent him.
yeah.
Even though
So
I
yeah,
have no idea how he's like
I have no
spitting them
idea.
out.
I have no idea as well. But yeah, start off with Senku reminiscing
So this is
about
the title itself, since we're still on the color page. It was
what's you.
you. Oh my god.
Who? Who? Uh, um, so yeah, we start off with Senku going reminiscing about starting over in a primitive world. We kind of way up one step at a time until we finally reach the surface of the moon. And again, Boichi going out of his way to just showcase how wide, fast, and beautiful the moon is with these images.
Oh yeah. Like so much of that, like this entire chapter, I'm gonna probably point it out each time. But yeah, then they talk about like the weapons they have kind of to remind us
Yeah,
probably before this final battle, like what they have on hand. And one of those things is the grenade net launcher. The other thing is the Medusa capsule.
yeah. My question is like, didn't like who is this saying yes as well as our Medusa cap as well as who is saying that?
Sukasa?
Yeah, but here's the thing: he has his scars back on his face for some reason.
He just painted them back on, dude. We've been over this, haven't we?
What?
He painted them back on.
Yeah,
Everybody
but
has painted
no, no,
scars.
no. Because let me go. Let me just quickly go back and look. Because I'm pretty sure when we, oh yeah, because he was in the water, but then we never saw. No, no. I'm pretty sure after did he when he was fighting when he was sparring with Kohaku, did he have them on?
Yeah, hang on. I'll put up. Let's see what chapter is this. It's hard to keep track of right now
Yeah.
with the pacing. To 8 to 19. Okay. Yeah, the fight was 219. He absolutely painted his scars on for the fight with Kohaku.
Oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, that
And then I think if I go to page, or sorry, chapter, no, not that one. Which one is it? 223 then, I guess. Go to page, what page number was it? Just give me a second here.
okay, yeah.
So I know he was in this chapter saying his goodbyes. Okay, so yeah, if you go to page 6 on 223, when he's saying his farewells where they go for the launch, he has his scars painted on.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, yeah. It was just me not forgetting again. Like, thank God I brought it up here because then I saved myself another Pie Jams comment when I do my review. Like, yeah, you've saved yourself, Luke. So okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I was going to leave you a whole entire comic.
Yeah,
Trademark Party Jams.
yeah, trademark Pie Jams. So yeah, we have the Medusa capsule, and then we have Chelsea saying, don't think I didn't think of that. Voices don't travel in the vacuum of space, so the Medusa wouldn't work the normal way. And we have Kiru and Giru basically being like the confused like primitive science people. Like, what does that mean?
Yep. And then Risu basically explains the Petra beam can be used for both the weapon and healing if they need it. So the capsule, I think the Roz explained this a little bit better, but the capsule basically will fill with air when they want it to activate, and then the mic, and that'll give the allow it to use the mic to activate the Medusa from inside.
Yeah.
But it needs to be in like the on position. That's what off and on means. It basically allows them to fill it with air.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And Kaku is like, huh, worst comes to the worst, I can throw this capsule at the enemy and say, I'm basically nearly says the cursed words to activate the Medusa, nearly dooming them all. And
Yep.
of course, Gen being like, dear Kaku's presence body's in it. What is he saying there?
Bodes ill.
Bodzil. All right.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have them basically saying like, okay, we could chat later. No sense in wasting oxygen. As we see them at some point build like a traction machine to drive on the moon. Like, when did they actually build this?
That is a good question because when I was seeing this, I'm like, when did you build this? Oh my god! Like, there's so much stuff they really could have just done when you think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. So yeah, we have them traveling around the moon, and Sino saying like their destination is basically in the Taro's li- literal valley, which is the neck of the bunny on the, which is the neck of the bunny on the moon. Like, I didn't. Is that actually a thing? Like, is there a bunny on the a bunny with a hammer on the moon?
They have to probably look into it because I didn't actually Google it. But what I did want to say is, assuming that is a thing, this calls back to that color page we saw of the gang chasing rabbits on the moon.
Oh yeah. Oh, that makes so much sense now. Like Boichi and Agaki foreshadowing events,
Yep, as
yeah,
always.
as always.
Which, I mean, then when we get to this, at the ending of the chapter, it's a big thing to think about all the foreshadowing
All the
we have to think
foreshadowing.
about.
Think about, yeah. Um. So yeah.
Yeah, so then they're driving basically to the place they found the black spot, which I guess is at this rabbit thing.
Yeah. And
It's
then
kind of weird because it's called Taurus Little Row, which means like bull. So, but then they're also talking about rabbits. So
I
I'm a
don't know.
little confused on that.
I don't
But
know.
and the trivia people will probably tell us because
Yeah, they'll
I'm too
probably.
lazy to Google it right now.
Yeah, they'll probably tell us, and I'll probably bring it up if they get it up in time for my review.
I
Um.
don't know if we will though, because I saw a tweet that said they'll do it next week. I think you can go to the Twitter account and check, but I believe they said they might skip this week for the trivia just to do the research.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, we have Stanley informing that the enemies spotted us from a mile away in this in this tricked in this
Tricked
tricked
out.
out lunar rover. As we see them approaching the spot where the first astronauts like Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin first landed on the moon, and they found the American flag that was planted there. But of course, it being there for so long, being exposed to the cosmic rays have bleached it white.
Yep, which is interesting. But what's also more interesting is probably like the last bit of clues that they gave us, which is that the Y Man's location just so happens to be where the humanity planted a flag. And Senku's like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
which
a pretty big coincidence.
I had a fit. Like, here's one of my theories that I had thinking about that the Y Man could potentially be either Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin.
I mean, a lot of people were saying that. I don't know if they meant it as a joke or not.
No, but I'm just thinking like because I just need to think when did Neil Armstrong die? I'm just looking it up because if he died, like Neon,
I want to
I
say Buzz
know,
Aldrin.
I know it
But
can't be Neil Armstrong because he died like in universe. He died like 5 years before the petrification beam, so it can't be him.
yeah, and I really don't I think it would be in good form anyway to like say he didn't die and he was on the moon. That
Yeah.
just feels weirdly
So,
disrespectful.
so it could potentially be Buzz Aldrin, unless they go for Jeff Bezos.
See, the thing is, well, we'll talk more about it afterwards.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. They they continue on by saying like, yeah, the Wyman's location just happened to be close to the spot where humanity left the flag. Something seems off to you too. The moon's pretty big, so there's got to be a reason for this coincidence. Yeah, that has to be a reason for this. So I can't figure it out at this moment, but there has to be a reason. And yeah, they've got to not assume anything about the enemy that will get them killed. So the only way to know is to go and see it for themselves. And again, another beautiful moonshot.
I like how Stanley says, "Do not assume anything about this enemy," and then immediately the fan base is like, "Let's assume everything and
Yeah,
figure this out."
let's assume everything. But
But
yeah,
my God, the next double spread is like one of
just
the prettiest things
like
ever.
that is probably up there with Senku rediscovering electricity for the first time. That is probably one of the best ones he's ever done.
Hmm. Like, if I didn't have people I was like trying to avoid spoiling stuff to, I would be sharing this panel a lot more because
Oh yeah,
it just
definitely.
looks so good. Like, man, I'm gonna just miss like this level of art from
I
Dr.
know.
Stone because like there
Like,
are good artists out there like Tabitha and Horikoshi and whatnot, but at the same time, just like this level of real world detail. I don't know.
like
Like a lot of
Cam-
people, like I think, don't like the photography that Boichi sometimes likes to do. But I feel like the reason I'm okay with him getting away with it is because when he draws like so real. It feels like it could be a picture.
yeah, yeah. And he doesn't really do it all that much.
That's also true.
Yeah.
But and I think it just looks good. It complements his art style. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
He needs to do just a straight up science fiction series himself.
But he has.
Like, no, I don't mean like I don't mean like Doctor Stone. I mean like just his own
No,
like
even
going.
before this. Like
What did
he's
he?
done Origin. I think that's a science fiction story if I remember correctly. I
Let
haven't read
me
it myself, but I think it's pure sci-fi.
Origin Boichi.
Yeah, I mean Sunken Rock isn't sci-fi. That's like a gangster. But I believe Origin is full on
Oh,
sci-fi.
sci-fi. Yeah, it is a sci-fi.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not that he needs to do his own sci-fi series. He just needs to do more sci-fi series.
All right, no,
Like
yeah,
the weird thing
I'm,
is, some people brought this up, but like, what's his, Horikoshi? Like, he also I think enjoys incorporating a lot of science fiction elements in his story. So I thought, okay, well, these two are about to finish like two major shonen series. If they teamed up and just like collaborated, they could make some really cool science fiction
yeah.
mecha series if they wanted to.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say a sci-fi series, just like a space series in general for Boichi.
Um, yeah, honestly, that would work. But I think even just then, the way he draws machines is pretty good. So I'd be okay with it just being like
Okay,
sci-fi. But yeah,
okay,
space he would do well, just like the way he does space.
yeah, and okay. So continuing on, as much as we love to look at this panel all day, we've got to continue on.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we have Kohako basically getting call from what she presumes is Senku, basically saying, "Please unseal the Medusa capsule." And then this is when and Kohako like gets like it being like, "Wait a minute, when did you? Since when do you say please? So since when do you say please, Senku?" And at that point, Senku probably should have been like, "Don't do anything. That was not me."
I mean, this is really interesting because when I first read the raws of this, I didn't even think to, I thought that Senku saw something that like scared him, and it's like, okay, we need to get the Medusa ready like now. But you know, looking back, it's actually pretty obvious that this wasn't Senku
Yeah,
talking. But
yeah,
yeah,
because
I would kind of sympathize with Kohaku being like, okay, I'm gonna go do this now.
yeah, but before we move on, I've got to love that the little nod to Stan Lee, the comic, the Marvel creator, because of
Mm.
Stan Lee's like backpack on his back. It's not Stanley as in Stanley. It's like Stan Lee.
Yeah, I'm gonna also assume that that is a shout out to that because they just didn't know how to spell his name.
Yeah, yeah. Um, So yeah, we have Stanley saying, Kohaku, what's up with you? Senku didn't say a word. And we get we get the flashbacks to what happened when um Gen and um Gen and Yo got petrified, and Ukyo's bringing up the fact like Senku's exact frequency mimicking his voice is a fake transmission, and we actually get to see like, okay, is this like, is does Wyman just have Senku's face?
I still think this is just imagery based on the fact that the Y Man's using Senku's voice when he's saying, "Thank you so much for unlocking it for me."
Yeah, but yeah,
But going back for a second, oh,
yeah, I honestly want to. I honestly cannot wait to hear what Wyman will sound like in the anime.
oh my God, that's gonna be so great in season three. But yeah, so
Yeah,
her vacuum tubes, that thing, I'm glad they brought that up because it kind of meant that the whole event with Yo and Gen. I mean, we still need an explanation on it, but um, I think that basically this is just confirming that when the Medusa, because nobody said anything to the Medusa, I think it just confirms that when the Medusa exits a vacuum like this, it'll auto activate.
oh yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, basically that whole capsule thing was just them foreshadowing it for us here.
Yeah, um, yeah. So we have Wyman saying, "Thank you so much for unlocking it for me." So this pretty much confirms where Wyman's allegiance is, because we've been debating for a long time: is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? But the fact that he was like deliberately saying that, yeah, unlock it for me, basically to petrify them. Uh, Pretty much confirms that yeah, Y-Man is evil.
I'm still not sure if he's evil. He just like doesn't want Senku and the rest to stop them, whatever they're doing. And also, like the other thing I want to point out is like this is probably the most complex language that the Y man has used because before this, everything they've been saying is either why, or do you want to die, or just like the command to activate the Medusa. But this chapter, they say, Kohaku, please unseal the Medusa capsule. Yes, indeed, please hurry, and even thank you for unlocking it for me. So this is the language of the Y man is much more complex than it has ever
Yeah,
been before.
yeah. So yeah, it means that we're probably getting to it soon. Like I really want it to be like the fifth, like the chapter that literally, literally publishes on the fifth anniversary is the reveal of the Y Man. Like I really wanted that.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about that, and that would be great. But man, at this point, like the fifth anniversary, this it's got to be something
Well,
like really
to,
crazy near the end.
to be fair, like this chapter, like it's 2022. Like when, I want to find out when Y Man was first introduced again. Age of Exploration. Like what
I believe
chapter?
chapter 97.
Uh,
Let me
yeah,
see if I remember that correctly.
chapter 95. So,
Close.
uh, so yeah. So chapter 95 and 96. So yeah, pretty much February 25th, 2019. So pretty much nearly 3 years since the Y Man was first introduced.
So yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. So after like two and a bit, nearly 3 years, we're finally going to find out what the Y Man is.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have Senku saying toss it away. They toss the revolver crash, the Land Rover crashes, and again loving how that we go from like up to down in like the span of a single panel,
Yep.
because we have the up image of and then we see them like on the moon, but like looking down on the earth. So like the gravity's shifting.
Yeah, I mean it's very good perspective shots, and it was a
Yeah,
nice way to illustrate Kohaku's like ability to throw insanely high.
yeah. And we get Stanley explaining that gravity on the moon's only 1/6 what we're used to, which means 6 times the throwing distance. Not bad. And the Medusa finally goes off, and like it's just like freaking everyone out here as they say, haha, at last it's within sight. So this is what's behind the ominous dark stain we've spotted. And Seiko
Yeah, what's
saying,
interesting though
yeah,
is that
go
like
ahead.
weird cloud yeah, the weird cloud we're seeing, we didn't see that at all when we were driving on the
Yeah.
moon. It
Well,
kind of just showed up after the Medusa activation.
what it's saying, Quark brought up the fact that it kept changing shape all the time, some of it, and it kept moving about.
Yeah, so what is this stuff?
What is this? But wait, Inagaki, stop teasing us. We need to know this.
My big theory right now, after like a little bit of thinking, was that this might be the whole nanobots thing that people had conceived all the way back when. This could be just massive nanobots.
That
And that could
that
be what Senku came to realize.
that does actually make sense. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that being the case. But yeah, I'll get into my theories at the end of the chapter quickly. So
Which
like
we're almost there.
I get Senku going, I get it, finally it's all coming together, the whole mystery, the perpetrator behind that flashlight that turned humanity to stone thousands of years ago, all along this whole time, closer than we know, why man was you. Like who? Like,
Because
so
Senku seems to recognize them.
yeah, so it has to be someone that Senku's come across with before. Like it can't be Byakuya. It can't be Byakuya.
Yeah, so my here's one thing I thought of because I was watching some older Dr. Stone videos while I was reading the Raws. One mystery that was never really explained was those two astronauts that got lost at sea after they left the treasure island. If-
Oh,
yeah, we still don't know what actually happened with them.
yeah, we don't know because they said they were lost at sea, but for all we know, they could have been anywhere.
And I mean, that would explain, at least for me, Zeno's surprise if it's not somebody else that we've seen before. Because otherwise, the only other reason I think everyone is shocked is just because if it was the Russian astronauts, then they probably looked like the Ishigami villagers. That would be my best guess. Someone
Yeah,
else suggested that it could be somebody like well known to either the team or the public conscious in general, like a celebrity of sorts. But
yeah.
then,
So I'm thinking like yeah, it might be Buzz Aldrin then because they brought up the whole uh, flag on the like. Did Buzz Aldrin was he the one that planted the map flag? Did Buzz Aldrin plant the flag on the moon? Who, mm, yeah, I can't. Who was planting flags on the moon? Uh, Buzz Aldrin flag on moon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like it was Buzz Aldrin that was the one that planted the flag.
okay. It still seems a little weird to me that they would choose like a real life person to be the ultimate villain of the series at the same time, though. I see what you're saying because they did a hint to the flag, and that's where we're at. And of course, Buzz Aldrin was like one of the first people on the moon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like in any other series, it's like the big bad guy was like a real life
Well,
IRL person.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. It seems like the only people that are like really freaking out about this are like the petrified people. So you have Taiju Yusuriya thinking about it, Sino, Ryusui, Ukyo, Miami, Gen. They're the only ones that are freaking out about it. We only see them.
I mean, Kaseki's also kind of sweating himself.
Yeah. 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 I guess so. But yeah, the problem with that theory about the Russian astronauts, is that how did they get back to space?
That is a good question, and I don't have an answer for it. But if they were with the Y Man, there might have been a way that they had to get back there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't fully believe it. It's just a random thought I had. I
Yeah.
still think the AI theory makes the most sense. But the only
Yeah.
thing is, what are they seeing that they're so scared of and that they recognize immediately?
Yeah. My theory is that it's the I have three theories for it. It's you know that blue AI that was talked about a few chapters ago that was doing the whole chess game.
Yeah, I did see you posted that on Twitter.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, that is one possibility.
yeah. So like it's either Alexis or it's Siri. Like the Alexis AI, like that's probably the Y man.
Well, some equivalent,
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah.
just thinking like I can't think of it being anyone else. Like anyone else that would be like so short. Like people would be like an Alexa AI that got so intelligent that it was able to gain artificial intelligence.
I mean, the only other thing that would make sense is it's like a character that we've met before, but the problem is, how would they have gotten to the moon?
Yeah, unless we have to go back to the right, like look at all the flashbacks to pre-petrification, like to figure out if there's any clues there.
I mean, pre-pet. I don't know. I mean, I this is like the big moment for the series to like reveal its mystery and like
Yeah,
have it make sense.
yeah. So
Because like in most series, this is the part where things fall apart real quick if it doesn't work.
yeah,
So
but
we'll have to see.
I think it is going to work. I imagine. Here's what I imagine. I imagine that Inagaki probably had a initial ending in mind for Doctor Stone if it wasn't a success. But then when he found out, like, okay, people are really taking to it, it's really popular, he probably came up with Man. I would say around the time he was developing the Byakuya flashback.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he probably had an idea around that point to who Y-Man actually was, because he's had to have had this for a while. Like they've had to have known for a while, and it can't be a case of like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do a Horikoshi and make it and just be like, oh yeah, I remember there's supposed to be a traitor.
Well, I mean, like we talked about with the Ioma and the trader stuff, um, it there was some hints to it early on, but it's more just like they didn't do it really enough with the character to make it satisfying.
Yeah,
In this case, I don't know. Like we know that it's none of the characters whose reactions we've saw
yeah.
because
So
obviously they're there.
yeah, so it's none of them. So like,
So who's left? Is it my Chelsea theory finally going to come to fruition?
is it what?
People, I did see some people talk about Luna as well, just because her name means moon.
Oh my god, that would be like so that no, do not do that. Do not do that. Just because the name means moon, that's just a coincidence. But yeah, or is it gonna be Shonen OG's theory of like the Beaver Warriors?
I mean, I remember Just King's theory is that it could be. Um, Wait, was this him? I think it was him. Like he mentioned, like one of the. It probably isn't going to be Senku's dad because it was already ruled out that Senku's
Yeah,
biological dad is going to be involved. But it could be one of the other characters' dads, like either the Nami corpse, like Ryusui's father, because there's so many hints to his
or it
family
could be
of the
like
series, or
oh
Luna's
oh
father, who we've also had hints towards.
I've just like wait who found it?
Okay, but you can search
Just
what you're.
yeah uh oh
Okay.
oh it could be. I was gonna say like it might be the guy who founded NASA, but he died in the 60s.
Well, yeah, NASA's a really old organization.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, Luna's dad and Ryusu's dad are also, I guess, possible theories, although I'm not sure why everyone would recognize them, I guess, unless they were world figures. But the one thing I will say with those ideas is just that we know so little about them that it would also feel a little on the weird side, but at least there was some level of foreshadowing for it. Yeah.
yeah. I'm just trying to think if it is the theory of like an AI computer, but then I'm looking at like who created the first AI, and yeah, the guy who created it, like he died before the guy who created NASA.
Well, of course, AI is like super old, depending on how you
Yeah,
want to classify it.
I'm just
So
trying
it
to.
doesn't make sense.
Um,
And I really don't think it's going to be a real life person because that just feels weird. Because even though we have like Trump canned into the Dr. Stone story, I don't think the series can really get away with, oh, but it was President Obama the whole time or something like that.
but
I
then
feel
it
like it would
has to.
just feel weird.
Well, then it has to be something that us as readers would be familiar with as well. That's the
Yep.
thing. So
And
like
just also the Japanese readers as well.
yeah, the
Because
Japanese readers, like, so if it's not a human, then it has to be an Alexa. It has to be an Alexa
or an AI of a sort. Yep.
or an AI equivalent, like an Alexa, a Siri, or maybe we are going with nanobots.
Yep.
But then,
So
would that be a letdown if it was just nanobots?
I mean, for me, not really, because there was a lot of like pretty concrete theories to it in the beginning. So I would be okay with it
Like,
personally.
what were some examples, just out of curiosity?
I the thing is, I think the best summation of the theory was a game theory video or was a film theory video where they went over like their belief of the petrification had like nanobots involved with it. So I here's what I remember. Basically, like we know that the statues can still think, which proves that there's some level of conductivity to it. So they thought, okay, well that suggests the idea that there might be some kind of machinery that helps maintain the body and keeping everything alive, rather than just being pure freaking rocks.
Hmm.
Um, and then there was, of course, the idea that this can't, the light from the Medusa is not a light. It doesn't travel well in a vacuum. Because when it went on the Earth, it has a mass to it, which suggests that it's a physical object in the cloud of the Medusa, meaning that there's some particles involved with it, possibly nanobot particles. And then the third thing is, of course, there's a programming to the Medusa itself. You need to say, uh, you need to say a distance, you need to say a time. So that's kind of like an activation effect. So machinery. And let's see what else was there. That's all I remember off the top of my head.
All
But
right.
yeah, I would look up the film theory video about Dr. Stone. I could probably give you the rest of it.
Okay. All right. But
And of
yeah.
course, it's just looking at I think only the anime only content for the most part. It was from a while back.
Okay.
So
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, pretty like as Shonen put on Twitter, like pretty like teasing cliffhanger. Like we want to find out what the Y Man is, but we want it now. Can we just do a time skip into a week in the future so that we can find out what it is?
oh
Yeah,
man, it's gonna be quite a wait.
it's yeah,
Even for me, I'm gonna be like looking
just
for the raws as
yeah,
always, so it won't be
j-
as much of a wait because
yeah, just theorizing like crazy what this thing actually is. Finally, yeah.
man.
So I'd like,
Yeah, but this is definitely chapter of the week if
oh,
anybody needs an
definitely
explanation on that.
chapter of the week. So yeah, but yeah, that was Doctor Stone, and really awesome chapter. But really, like, I'm eager to find out what it is now. I'm eager to like just find out what this mystery is. Put it all to rest now, and figure out how they're gonna take down the Y Man.
Yep. So yeah, stick around for next week, guys.
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's
be
gonna
super
be
excited or super angry and ranting,
super, or possibly a combination of both.
or
Whoever
both.
knows. Whoever knows. But yeah, that was it, guys. Thank you for joining us this week, and hope to see you again next week. So until then, peace.